Hello, welcome to Quackalope. Thank you for being here. Today we're diving into a gameplay, a RPG game. No, don't click off. Trust me, this is going to be worth it. Shira, you flew all the way up from Florida.
All the way up from Florida.
Basically just for this. West, this is based off of or built from a system that is your favorite storytelling system?
Yes, the favorite mechanism is powered by the Apocalypse systems. Way better.
We are playing the Revenant Society, which is from a little company called Van Games. The company that I have been stand as saying for the past probably 2 years is one of, if not the best storytelling board game company in the industry. We're talking Detective City of Angels. We're talking the graphic novel Adventure System.
Talking about the Dark Quarter.
Yeah. And Final Girl.
Final Girl, yeah.
I'm just throwing it out there. There's reasons to pay attention even if you're a board gamer. Trust me, you'll see how easy, fun, and accessible this is to run. And we're not doing it ourselves. We're actually joined with one of the project developers. We have Julie from Van Games. You are going to be our lovely host. You're going to be, one, an NPC in this system, I believe, and two, the person telling us why everything is crumbling and falling apart. Am I right about that?
Yeah, I am your GM, known in this particular game as the Fate Weaver.
Very cool. I'm going to give the mic to Julie in just a moment, but for those of you that are watching, if you notice, camera angle 1, 2, 3, Julie, and side shot. I want to make the most aggressively watchable version of this from 2 different locations. So leave a comment down below, leave a algorithm push if you like this system, if you think this is a good way for us to actually collaborate with publishers, designers, DMs, and other individuals in our hobby space, if we all can't be in the same location. We're still figuring that out. Julie, what is happening? Let me know why the people should click the link literally at the top of the video description to go follow and back the Revenant. I'm sorry, tell me about the Revenant Society.
Sure, well, I can do both, but which would you prefer?
Tell me about it. Let's talk about the game. What's going on here?
All right, cool. So, the Revenant Society, the endless loop beneath the city, you are recently demised.
Okay, good.
You've died.
Good place to start.
So, you know, it's all uphill from here.
I mean, if you're going to begin somewhere, why not begin at the end, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So as your Fate Weaver, I can't kill you off. It's already happened. So you got that going for you.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So you are in that in-between between the afterlife and the living, in that in-between place. And there's a reason for that. Something went wrong, and it shattered time. And so the timelines are all messed up, and you and some other people that happen to be near you at the same time and are subsequently in the waiting room with you in the hereafter, are going to have to go back to the time of that shattering event and fix it. The problem being, you're a Revenant. You're a sentient zombie. And so you are going to have to disguise your otherworldliness to the best of your abilities, figure out what this shattering event is, whether or not it's related to your death, who did it, who the culprit is that caused it, which may be somebody else, might be you, who knows. Okay. And stop it from happening. Otherwise, you are trapped in the time loop forever, doomed to repeat a Groundhog Day over and over and over and over. Or
I'm going to have so much ice cream.
Or you solve it, you get to go to the afterlife of your choosing, and there you go. So that is the game in a nutshell. Of course, it takes place in either the locations we've picked are the 1920s, so the Roaring 20s in New York City, or the Belle Epoque in Paris. The one that we are doing today will be in the 20s, and I'm going to use a phrase that I heard from another GM that I really liked. It's the 1920 and fun. So it's the 20s and all the cool, fun stuff about it. Yeah. But we're taking on all the problematic parts of that time period of history.
It's the nostalgia that we all think we like to reflect on. I'm in for that.
Correct.
I'm in for that. And we are using, just so people that are watching are aware, very print and play prototype style components. This will be made into a glorious book. There'll be very nice things that you get. We do not have access to those yet, even though they're all finished. We need to close off the campaign, and you guys got to hit print, right?
That is correct.
Cool. Just in case someone was like, that doesn't look as fancy.
Well, being part of the board game world, a lot of, most of the time, it will have just a core book. So it could look like this if you're more of the RPG player type, where you're just making photocopies of things. But then we have the nice, pretty deluxe version that has all the bells and whistles that will have much nicer components in a box bag.
It's what our audience wants. They want to know that there's going to be shiny trinkets and everything else included.
There's going to be minis. We've already upgraded the dice, so they're pretty. Yes.
Yeah, it's going to be big. All right, how do we get started, Julie? What's the process here?
Well, so we know where we're at. We're going to. We already went through our calibration tools, which for your audience is when you're playing an RPG, it's a group storytelling, and you want the group storytelling narrative to be fun for everybody at the table. So we do lines and veils as our calibration tools. Lines being, it's a line in the sand. I don't want you to cross it. So if it's something that makes me uncomfortable, that's a line. And we just all agree, we're not going to do it. We're not going to talk about it. Veils, similar, it's all right, you can say that it happened, but I don't want the gory details. I don't need that part to be graphic. So we've already established ours so that we know what we're all comfortable with. And then during the game, I also like doing the X's and O's, where X means, you know what, I didn't think about this, or somebody's kind of crossing that line. I just say X, and that means, okay, we stop and we move on from that. Or maybe I start to go down a path and I don't like it, and I would like to edit my own storytelling. I can X myself and have a do-over, and there's no harm, no foul.
Cool.
Conversely, O's is, oh, I like that. So if somebody gives you an O, that means whatever you're doing, I'm really vibing on it. I really want more of it. So we can do both of those things during the game if we feel it. So that we've kind of already established. And so Powered by the Apocalypse rule set, what we're going to do is we're going to be working on doing this group story. We're going to go to a location. In front of you, you see that there's a map, and there is a bunch of different places. We're going to have 6 of them available to us. So we're going to start pretty much at City Hall and work our way up to 59th Street.
Okay, so City Hall down here, working up towards 59th Street. Okay.
So those 6 in a row. Every place else is under construction.
Okay.
So those are the areas for this particular story that are available to us. So during the story, during the time, you're going to say, okay, so we're going to wake up at a specific location. So we'll probably start our investigation there. Every time you decide to do something that needs a move, it will take up a little piece of time at that location. So to jump over to the, let's see, so moves are the things, the actions you can do. Basic moves are available to everybody, and that's the much less glamorous basic move sheet, where you have your basic things that you can do, like investigate, or try to blend in, persuade. As a character, you're going to have very specific moves that you choose, so we'll get into those as we talk about your characters. But for any one of those, you're going to roll 2d6. Right there on the basic moves, it'll tell you what a success is. A success means you get to pick 2 of the things under investigate. A partial success means 1 thing. And if you don't and you fail, you didn't succeed at doing it. But it's not a complete loss. That's gained you experience. So on your sheet, you'll mark off experience points. If you get 3 experience, you will be able to level up either in the form of raising one of your stats or adding a new personal move selection menu choice. So that's what you're going to do. And when we do those moves, whether you succeed or not, we're going to tick off a time on the time loop. So on the time loop, we're going to have at any given location 6 times that you can do a move.
Now,
Once
for the sake of the audience and what they're looking at here, right now we're seeing a full campaign, not a shorter session like we're doing. And so technically, we're just going to be using these 3 middle zones, and they're going to be around 8 to noon, around noon to about 4-ish, and then 4-ish to close. Something like that.
Only reverse the time frame. We're at night. We need the
other way.
Safety of darkness.
So 8 p.m. To midnight to 4-ish to when dawn is breaking. So you'll see us scratching that off. It won't quite match up with the time on the top, but that's just because we're playing a system that is an option. It's just a little bit modified.
Correct. So once those are done, you would move forward. Now you can stay in that same location, and we'll keep track of that as well. But usually you're going to want to move to a new location, discover new things. If we get to sunrise, 6 a.m., the loop will start over.
Okay.
So if that happens, let's say you found the key and you were trying to use a key to get into this locked warehouse, and you're certain that if you get into the locked warehouse, that's where the culprit is, and the loop starts over, you're going to be back where you started, and the key is going to be back wherever it was because the day has started again.
But we do have more information.
Yes, you'll have information, but any allies or enemies you make in the meantime won't remember who you are, and that's what so that's what the time loop piece of it is. So
that can be such a fun module to run.
Pretty high level of how it's going to work. The one other thing I'd like to point out for the dice roll, so we talked about if you do a fail, you still get experience. If you do a success, a 10 or higher, you're doing great. And that's great for you. It's not so awesome for the Watchers, who are the shadow. They were once living, but they didn't die. They got sucked into the ether, and they hate you. They want you to fail. They never got the opportunity for redemption that you are currently having.
Cool.
And so they're going to start coming and being attracted to you. The more you attract Watchers, the harder it is for you to succeed, and the more people are going to notice that, you're dead. And that they might be a little afraid of you. And it's terrifying. So, success there's a balance there, as it were. I think we're going to stop there. That's a good enough high level, and then as we get into it, I can give you more details about your choices. And so I think we're going to move forward.
Okay.
We are, we're in limbo. So we're in the waiting room of the afterlife. You've died, but you straddle the line between the afterlife and the living. You keep returning to the same place day and day, or at least until you can solve the mystery behind the time loop. Though you no longer possess the flesh of your body, you now have superhuman abilities that make you stronger than before. You also appear as you did when you died, looking like a moving corpse, and maybe smelling like one, and held together by formaldehyde and decaying organs. So, you come to. And it's like if you were in a daydream, or even asleep and you wake up, and there's that moment of being disoriented. And then you realize you're in this very beige waiting room. Very industrial looking, very uniform. It's like going to the DMV.
Great. Last time I did that, I cried.
You cry. Yeah.
It was the DC DMV. I want to be clear about that. It was a bad experience. This is a nightmare. I hate this place.
Well, and as you look around, you notice that in addition to yourself looking down at yourself and everybody around you, you realize that everybody looks like they've passed on and look as bored as you. The second thing you notice is that you're holding a ticket with a number on it. And just as you notice that, a little ding happens, and you look up and there's a little sign, and the number flips, and now it says 347. And you realize that is the number that you have in your hands. So you're holding this number, and you're looking up, and you're looking around, and at the far end of the room are cubicles And you see a demon. She's got horns. She's on fire. And she's filing her nails. So she's filing her nails, and it catches fire because she's also on fire, and just whoosh out of existence. She sighs, opens the drawer next to her, pulls out another nail file. You can kind of tell it's like stacked to the brim with nail files.
Nice.
She tries it again. It goes up in flames, and she gives up and she looks up. She goes, "Next, 347. 347.
Yeah. That's us.
Oh yeah, come here."
Excuse me, my number actually says 347 as well. I didn't realize there'd be more than 3 or 4 of us with the same numbers as everybody else. Mine here says 347.
Look, man, I don't know who you are.
That was what my that was my birthday as well.
I'm gonna go move to the next number. Can you?
No, 347 right here. Yep. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. What is going on?
Oh. Well.
I'm sorry.
I'm not gonna do this anymore.
I get that look a lot in my face. I try to look pretty as I can. In the sales business, we always try to look nice.
I also have the ticket number 347.
Oh my
I
goodness.
think I also have it in my hand. It says 347.
Weren't you in that movie?
Ma'am, I'm so sorry.
Perhaps.
Can you please just check my ticket?
All right. Well, no, this happens sometimes. The higher ups, they told me they were going to stop. We had a whole meeting about it. There was donuts, but I guess we're doing what we're doing. All right. We're going to have to fill out your paperwork to have you processed to go to the afterlife. So I'm just going to have you go down the line. I'll have you fill out your paperwork one at a time.
Afterlife, ma'am?
You mean you don't? This is awkward. Yes. You've died. It's okay. It's already happened.
I don't feel very dead. I feel pretty.
You're not going to feel much because,
sentient.
You're dead already. That's how it works. But,
touch me. Come on. Do I feel dead?
Okay now. You, sir, with the I get this all the time for the look.
Oh, yes.
What's your name, sir?
My name is Charles McElroy III.
Charles McElroy, huh?
Absolutely. The third, please. My grandpappy, he was the original Charles McElroy. He was an amazing seed salesman from South Alabama. One of the top producers in the nation.
That's lovely.
Mm-hmm.
Pronouns?
I generally affirm to use the he's and the hises and the other things that are. I mean, I also really enjoy seeds.
How old were you on date of death?
I'm really not sure, ma'am. I'm still kind of coming to terms with this whole death thing. But last time I checked, when I looked at the old calendar, that had me at about 47. I usually have to ask my wife these questions. She's got all my answers.
Now, how did you, if I might ask, die? And if you're having difficulty with remembering, you might want to look on your persons and see if there are any clues.
Well, I do remember I was working with some.
And for the record, on your character sheets, there are suggestions. You can make up your own. But I believe for the grizzled, you have.
Don't worry, ma'am. I have my story. I think I seem to recall it just fine. I was standing on top of a seed sowing machine. You see, here in Southeast Alabama, we really work on our farms, and I was focusing on.
Sir,
ma'am.
You were in New York City. You're saying you're not from there originally?
Well, you see, I'm originally from New York City, but see, I actually from Alabama originally. But see, in New York City, I was actually going to a show. We were showcasing the farm equipment. Because I'm originally from Alabama, but my family moved to New York City. But I prefer the town of Alabama. But I get that I had to be in New York City for this event.
So you're a traveling salesperson?
Absolutely, ma'am.
And you died from how?
Well, I mean, if you don't want me to tell you the whole story about how it happened, if you want me to get to the nitty gritty, I suppose that's how things happen. But I was trying to sell this person a sewing machine, and I was standing up on top of it telling them how easy it is to use and how no one ever dies falling off of them. And, well, I may have expired by accidentally falling off of said machine and dying.
Farm equipment...
I mean, it may not be the prettiest of deaths, but that's how it happened. When you really shouldn't showcase farm equipment when you're not on a farm. I think that was really the problem of it. Seeing all these city boys, they're just touching and moving things, and I think that's what caused me to fall. But yeah, the farm equipment, thrashing machines, sowing seeds, bad idea.
No, they do not pay me enough for this. Next to you.
Yes, ma'am. I'm so sorry, by the way. I still don't quite know what... You said dead, right? I'm clarifying that that's the reality of the situation?
Yes, you are
Yes, she
dead.
said dead.
What is your name?
It's really... Stim Dougal.
Pronouns?
Pronouns, just he.
And,
Do we really have to go through this whole thing? Is this the... This is the process? Okay. Great. I'm an artist, ma'am. What can I say? Or at least used to be an artist, I suppose. My greatest work will never be finished at this point. But I'm pretty well known.
Artist, I'm assuming you mean a writer?
No, ma'am. I actually... it's kind of embarrassing because, again, it won't be complete, but I specialize in multicolored paints, usually on more rural cityscape areas.
Are you a graffiti artist?
So I don't like putting labels on my work. It really doesn't fall into the lane of gang work or...
Sonny, do you just go around alleys spray painting?
Ma'am, did you hear about the famous building on 26th Street, which was turned purple
That's
overnight?
amazing that you know about spray painting in the 1920s. That's fantastic.
It's not any type of artificial paint. It is specifically large volume mass coloring. That's what we like to talk about. And I nearly had the train that runs down Central Station entirely blue. I assume that has to be how everything happened. I mean, the paint across my arm would probably indicate that as well. We do large exhibits that are for an exclusive audience, the rich, the wealthy, the famous. We set up grand displays that happen to, let's say, transform something in a moment, like a train running into a paint barrel, for instance, into a colored object. It is high class. None of you would understand it. Sadly, it seems this last one did not go as, like I said, Central Station was going to be blue. It seems as if, and I'm only speculating here because honestly I don't remember that well, but it seems as if something went wrong. I nearly had that train. We had our buckets, we had our barrels set up both above and below. It was supposed to pass right at 6 p.m., and we are going to pull the cords. I can only assume that a 72-ton bucket of paint might have been a bad thing for me to be holding a rope to. I assume I got dragged into the tracks, and while the exhibit certainly had a lot of blue, it seems that there was a bit of red mixed in. One train, one bucket.
Paint?
It was just... We had a bridge.
Hit by a train.
We had a giant bucket of paint. I was holding a rope. I remember pulling the rope to dump the bucket as the train was coming through. Like I said, things become colorful in an instant. I can only assume that the rope pulled me instead. That's my theory. It's really unfortunate.
Hit by a train.
Okay. That's if you want to put it that way. Maybe creating a masterpiece, working on my life's work. Fine.
You know, back in Alabama, we always talk about if you wipe your butt, it's still called wiping your butt.
I was 28, by the way, ma'am. 20 freaking 8. I cannot believe this.
And, next.
Hi, I'm Cassidy White.
Pronouns?
She, her.
Age of death?
119. You heard me. 119 ripe old years. I've lived a really good long life.
I'll say. Right then, what did you do for a profession?
I was an archaeologist. I was studying the ancient Egyptian and Mayan tombs.
I think I know how she lived so long. Curses.
How did you die?
Snorting up
My
some
death
of
was
the
quite
Egyptians.
peaceful, actually. I was actually in a tomb, and I fell asleep, and I don't think I woke up.
In New York City?
Yeah, there's some deep, deep tombs in New York City.
Maybe one of them displays at the museum?
Yeah, I was setting up one of the museum exhibits, based on the tombs that I was looking at.
Very good. Where you worked, to circle back,
The museum was in Queens.
no, it was in New York City based on how we're playing this game.
Was a special exhibit down in Times
That
Square.
we picked at.
Okay.
So,
Queens is outside of the city.
Which ones are the cities?
while we're playing, yes. So, like the Modern Museum of Art or National History Museum, and so we're going to pick one of the locations is where you worked or were apparently travel salesman at the place where you were.
Like something
doing
around Times
displays.
Square.
City Hall.
Times Square, City Hall, yeah.
Okay.
All right. So Charles, you were at City Hall?
Yes, ma'am. City Hall. Well, I was setting up a big old display of farm equipment because these city boys ain't never seen nothing like that before.
And, STEM?
STEM, yes ma'am. Union Station.
Yeah.
Right downtown. It's going to be our biggest piece yet. Was
And,
going to
Cassidy?
be.
Times Square. The Natural History Museum.
And I'm sorry, what station was that near?
I believe it's Times Square.
Wonderful. All right. Well, now that you've had a chance to acclimate to the shock of your demise, and also to clearly, you all seem pretty aware of what was happening. So
Is this a reality show? Am I
most
being
people
punked?
have much more difficulty with their memories as they come through, but that's all right. You all seem very, very well aware of things. But is there one memory in particular that is a sounding board for you? Because mostly your demise is supposed to be a mystery and hazy, and you're telling me in great detail what happened.
I don't remember my demise. I just want to be clear about that. I remember
That's
holding a
true.
rope.
You remembered a lot around it, or what happened, the specific details.
It was my
How it
life's work, ma'am.
But is
My
there a memory
soul was built
give
to
you
do
a
this.
starting point? So, just to help you up, I'm going to show you normally we'd have a deck of memory cards,
Okay.
which, since we were printing out things, we don't have. I am going to show you some of the cards that will be part of the actual memory deck. So, I'm going to give you a picture. It could be a person. It could be an item. What I'm going to have you do is, it doesn't have to be a literal, this person is the thing. It can be this person is the thing, or it can be this person reminds me of, so this person is dressed really fancy, and, you know, we had to dress up in school. There was a dress code, and I really didn't like it. And the person who was always bothering me about it was my teacher. So this is a memory of my teacher. So you could do it that way, or you can literally be like, oh, that person, that's my brother. Either way, it's fine. But we're going to have, you know, and if it's an item, it needs to lead to an NPC, so a person.
Okay.
So you're going to look at a picture. You're going to tell me who it reminds you of, and give me the name of that person.
So we're setting up some relationships. Do we, based off of what you're saying, because I kind of went off of West's farm equipment story, should we know less about our death than we do, or are we actually at an okay point?
Part of the deal is that you are, well, you know how you died, or you know that you died and what killed you, but how it happened is what you're trying to solve, is part of what you're trying to solve.
Gotcha. Okay. So you are actually fine because you went to sleep.
I fell asleep.
But you don't know if she was killed somewhere in the process.
But it could have been more.
Yeah, it could have been more.
That she thought she just went to sleep and had a peaceful, died of old age in the middle of doing her thing, or maybe somebody was tired of thinking that they were going to be able to take over her job, and she just kept doing it at 119, and was just sick of it.
And so for me, I will say, I remember holding a rope. I remember holding on to something, and then suddenly I was dead. It might not have actually been the art exhibit that I think back to.
Correct.
But I remember holding on to something, and you remember falling.
I remember falling. I was standing on top of some equipment, and then I thought I was falling.
So we can vague in those things. We believe the narrative we've already given. We believe, but that does not mean that narrative is correct.
But that doesn't mean it's right. Okay. That's absolutely what happened.
Cool.
And maybe it is, and maybe we focus on other things. But
cool. Yeah, I wanted to make sure that I wanted to. You know, this guy with a very charming Alabama accent had swayed me into telling a story.
Which is good. That means you're listening.
I mean, that's what we do in RPGs, right? We tell stories.
All right. So, let's see. We're going to go in reverse order. So, Cassidy, I'm going to show you a picture, and this is going to be the lead into your memory. You're going to tell me who this leads to an NPC memory of and how they are related to you. So we're going to do my...
Boom! Screen share.
Screen share. So Cassidy, can you tell me who this is?
Why, that's my great-great-grandson, Arthur, and his cat, Penelope.
Well, he looks like a very sweet boy.
He looks like a dainty so-and-so, if you ask me.
He just came home from seeing a show. That's why he's all dressed up.
I could paint him blue.
Why is everything always blue? You have another...
That's my mother. It's been a while, actually. Good to see her. I lost that photo. Her name was Bethany. She come through here?
Sir, there's many of us. I can't be sure.
Confirm or deny.
It's all right, ma'am. I'll never know.
And then Charles.
Oh, what's that, acacia? Feels nice and homey. It kind of reminds me of when I was a kid. We used to sit underneath a tree sipping, what did we used to drink? It's hard to remember. I think we used to drink, I think it was sweet tea underneath trees like that. And my grandmother used to bring out some old, what do you call them, glasses, jugs, the mason jars. And then we would sit up underneath the tea. She'd wrap them in burlap and keep it all nice and cold. It was pretty nice.
What's her name?
So this reminds you of your grandmother?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's sitting under big trees like that. She used to bring out the thing. That's what I remember. My grandmother, yeah, Ruby Sue.
And what was her name?
Ruby Sue.
Ruby Sue. That's a lovely name. Now, again, you've been here a while, and you may have noticed at this point that you have, as the undead, some extra abilities. So, at this point, take a minute and look.
Can I
at
float?
those
Nope.
moves that are on your sheet and select one of them.
I do feel like my nostril smelling ability is significantly better. It could just be that I'm a bit stinkier than I normally am.
Yeah, that isn't one of them. So
I-
for the grizzled,
I have felt like
the
I've...
undead moves would be browbeat, supernatural strength, body part substitution, or clumsy brawler.
Well, ma'am, I'm not sure about you, but I seem to be missing one of my arms already. And I feel like it'd probably be a good plan to put one of them back on. Now, whether we use one of them prosthetics or something, I think that'd probably be the best option for me.
So you would like body part substitution. So you would mark that off on your sheet that is your current special ability.
Yes, ma'am.
For Shim,
Stim, ma'am.
you are
Oh, it's
the
shit now.
philosophical. So you have look into the void, one with nature, mind palace.
No, Cassidy's actually the philosophical.
What?
Oh. That explains so much.
Stim is actually the glamorous.
I'm making things beautiful, ma'am.
That makes so much more sense.
It's probably my fault, Julie. I apologize.
That's why she asked if I was writing a book.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's why she was confused when I was an archaeologist.
All right. So Cassidy, those would be your moves.
Yes, and I would like,
Which one would you like?
research.
Research.
Yeah.
Also checks out. Shim.
Stim, ma'am. Still close. It's with a T.
I'm just gonna keep mispronouncing it.
I love it. It's
I love it. I
fabulous.
think it's great.
So good.
All I want to be is known, and she just doesn't even hear. There ain't no respect.
Astral projection, mask, energy feeding, or special access.
Well, now that you mention it, I have felt myself as if I was in multiple places. I can hear things, and I thought that was just normal, but in the afterlife, it seems to be a power. Astral projection, ma'am.
Wonderful. Okay. Finally, the last thing we're going to do to finish your paper.
For the record, I'm having a blast with setup.
Fantastic. Is we have potentially you have a relationship with each other or with the people you've talked about. So at the bottom of your sheet, I would like to know if there's somebody you trust, if there's someone you resent, and if someone rubs you the wrong way. Now, that answer can be everybody, nobody, one of the other two characters with you, or one of the NPCs that were discussed, which would be Ruby Sue, Arthur, and Bethany.
Okay.
The cat's not one of the things?
I'm going to say no.
Penelope?
What was your great-grandson's name again?
Arthur.
Ma'am, I've got a story to wind, if you don't mind.
Oh, please.
And I'm just going to go off the sheet here, not to spin too many diagnostics. I trust Arthur because he's actually one of my greatest patrons. Loves my work, loves me turning the city bright, as we like to say, and has given me not a meager investment in the past to produce such work in some of the grandest locations around our small town. I, however, despise and resent a young woman not so young anymore, named Cassidy. She specifically shut down 3 of my exhibits. 2 that were actually going to be formally sponsored by the art installation itself in some of our grand museums. I was going to paint an entire marble room of vibrant turquoise and a vibrant scarlet.
Oh, get on with it, Stim.
And then, to follow up with that, she caught and called the authorities on my final great project. She's been on to us, and I don't like it.
Somebody rub you the wrong way?
I've never been a fan of those that come from the South and think they're slightly better than us.
Someone sitting next to you?
That's all I'll say, ma'am. Farm equipment looks best in purple.
Very good. Charles.
Yes, ma'am.
No wonder our souls were tied together.
Who do you trust?
Well, ma'am, you see, I don't really trust anybody up here in New York City because they all got these hoity-toity accents, think they're better than everybody else, especially people from the South. So up here, I really ain't trusting nobody. And I kind of resent city slickers. So pretty much anybody from up here, I resent all of them because they just don't know what a good hard day's work actually is. I mean, none of them ever get their hands dirty. You touch the inside of one of these New York City slicker hands, they super soft. They like touching a baby's bottom.
Yeah, the acetone that I use to wash off.
Man, it ain't acetone. It's called ass. It's a straight up butt.
Any city slicker in particular you would like to name names?
I mean, certain people at this table who've been painting stuff for their whole life ain't never put nothing on canvas.
How dare you, sir?
And then try to think that they some sort of better than everybody else. And just because I'm working hard trying to set up something at the city hall, and they're out there trying to paint up the city, paint the town red. They ain't even using red. They using all blue. Blue's an ugly color. It's a boring color.
Anybody else rub you the wrong way?
Yeah, Arthur. He's come out. He
My
was over.
grandbaby?
Absolutely.
My great-great-grandbaby?
Your great-great-grandbaby with his silly little cat. You know what he tried to do?
He's a respectable man.
He let his cat run all up and down my equipment. I remember vividly seeing that SOB standing there with his dumb old cat on his shoulder, hopping, just nimbly-bimbly, letting his little cat run up all over my farm equipment.
Penelope is one of the most dignified cats in our city, and I will not have you talking about her.
She took a
or
wee
her
inside
owner,
the
or
cab.
How dare you?
Right on the seat. Do you know how hard it is to sit down in a seat with cat wee on it? It's horrible.
Not that hard. It'd smell the same as you.
I still gotta work in that thing.
I mean, to be fair. All right. Well, that was almost painless, and now paperwork is finished. So now we can just.
Wait, I didn't get to say my relationships.
I am so sorry.
Ma'am.
You gotta speak up.
Cassidy.
I've lived to 119 years old, and you're not gonna let me say who my relationships are?
You know what? You shrunk down so much, and you're so little.
I trust my great-great-grandbaby Arthur because he's my great-great-grandbaby. I mean, he can do no wrong. He's the epitome of the angel. I resent nobody. I've lived long enough to see it all. And Stim, man, he rubs me the wrong way. He's too modern with his painting and trains and art. What? Way too modern.
I knew she phoned them. I knew it this whole time.
Do we even call that art?
So.
I don't know to apologize or say thank you to Julie.
What this means, for the audience, since this is also just explaining things, what this means is when they do dice rolls where there are scenes where there is a cross between either the NPC that they've talked about or one of the people that they have in common, you will get an extra die to roll.
Cool.
So, I believe you all called each other out in some way, shape, or form. So if you're performing a scene together, in some way, shape, or form where you're telling the story together and one is supporting the other or detracting, that person will get an extra dice roll. So instead of 2d6s, it will be 3. So you've actually helped each other out quite a bit.
We hate each other enough to support each other.
Yep. True story. Let's see. Where are you all headed? You are going... Huh. She shuffles through the paperwork.
I love the concept of this so far.
She starts sorting. She's looking like her inbox.
I was hoping for heaven, frankly. I mean, if I'm dead, that was what the Reverend told me.
Do we all have to go to the same place?
There's been a problem, and it seems like you are not going to the afterlife yet. You instead are going to have to go back to New York City. It says here that you're going to need to figure out how you died and how that's linked to a murder that's supposed to happen.
What do you mean how I died? I'm pretty sure I know.
I fell asleep.
I'm pretty sure I fell.
If you don't stop the culprit who's about to commit a murder,
Ugh.
and may or may not be linked to some of or all of your deaths,
What are you saying, man?
then you're going to be stuck in a time loop for ever.
A time?
So, you know,
Forever.
What the heck is a time
You're
loop?
going to keep going. You're going to get out. You're going to do this. You're going to be fine. You're going to figure them out. You're going to stop the culprit, and then we'll process you after that.
You're telling me I could have ice
it'll
cream
be
every
fine.
day?
Excuse me, sir?
No, don't worry about it, man.
Look out for any watchers. They're the beings that
ones.
stumbled into limbo before their death. They're going to try to drag you down because they're jealous or something. So just step through that door. A beige door just pops into existence.
Man, I don't think you've given us enough info.
That's beige.
Yes,
You want to
I'm
paint
sorry,
it?
Don't ask me anymore. You have taken quite a bit of my time. I have many other people waiting in line, as you can see behind you. I've got to call in another number.
Well, it has been
So
3
don't
of
ask
us.
me any more
Yeah,
questions.
Okay.
I don't get paid enough for any of this.
You get paid anything?
I mean, do you see how many of them handy little thingies you
good
got in there? It seems like you're making enough money.
Is this your time loop, ma'am?
And goodbye.
And we get sucked through the door.
So,
And that's the game. That's set up. That
Amazing.
Well, it's so good. I love it.
Thank you so much, Julie. It's incredible.
I feel like I'm playing a Loki story. You know.
listen, I told you all before we started here. So we'll take a pause just in case anybody needs to get a water. Are we good?
No, I'm
Okay.
having a great time.
Great.
Do you need a break?
So, I said before we started that everything was going to go quick, but I didn't realize how many of you were so invested in making these characters. So
We-
I can't
so-
correct it.
So, for the record, West and I love storytelling, and Shira Chavin is just now discovering how good storytelling in RPGs can be. She's a brand new, like, you are not the type of gamer for this.
No.
But are you having fun? Is it interesting?
Yeah, I want to, but I just want to hear the story, and I want to hear the end.
All right.
Well, you're part of that.
You feel the dirt and worms shuffle around you as you lift yourselves up in the dark. Somehow, though, you're able to see everything around you despite knowing that it is dark. You feel a familiar rumble of a subway train.
Oh, I thought it was a different rumble. I'm sorry.
And then you see the light. And it's moving very fast towards you. You need to get out of the way now. So, we are starting in 14th Street, Union Square. That's where you are.
Okay.
You are near the train tracks. And of the brand new subway station, but somewhere near the platform, not on the platform. What are you gonna do?
Are we around each other at the moment?
Oh yeah, you're all.
And when one of us takes an action, do we do it all together, or is it just that one person?
That one person can do an action, the other person can support them. So
Can I jump out of the way?
At
you can
116?
fly. You are a 119-year-old Revenant. Would you like to give that a shot?
Maybe I'll climb on one of their backs, these spry young gentlemen. Let them carry me out of here.
Seems far more realistic. Viable, as it were. So you're gonna climb on their back. Whose back are you climbing on?
Don't really like Stim, so Charles. He's a farmhand. He's
Does
strong.
Charles know that?
That's right. Yeah, I'll take her. It's fine. She starts grabbing up on me, but I'm like,
And
here,
what are
ma'am,
you
I'll
doing?
give you a hand.
So you're climbing on his back, and what are you doing?
Are you talking to me?
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm gonna push this old city slicker who tries to paint everything down on the tracks and probably kick him a little and then run away.
I would like to remind you that if any one of you dies, the time loop starts over, and you have wasted one whole loop.
It'll be a wonderful, glorious loop
We're
to have
already
wasted.
dead.
Can I check if I have any
Hold
knowledge
on. Okay.
about the
Perhaps.
bottom of
Let's
trains?
Let's finish with what Charles is doing. Charles, what are you doing? Are you actually?
I'm 100% pushing him onto the track and then hopefully kicking him a little bit
I'll
while I
survive.
run
Don't,
away with the other lady.
don't worry, man. I'll survive.
Okay. You think about doing that, but you realize that you have now a very fragile other entity on your back, holding on as you do it. And maybe decide against it because most of the time in RPGs we don't attack each other.
Also, it's not very gentlemanly. I'll admit that.
Coming from a city slicker like you.
I'd expect a southern bum to do just what
Train's
you
coming.
described.
So I grab her, I throw her on my back, and I fart a little in his face. And then I run away.
All right, so you are going to run away. Okay, so flee. So I'm going to need you to roll. Let's see. Nothing with your relationship says you have anything with. So you're going to roll 2d6,
Okay.
and you're going to modify that since you are trying to run away with vigor. So what is your stat for vigor?
-1.
All right, so you're going to roll and then -1.
Oh, lucky you.
That's a 10. -1, so a 9.
Very good. So that is a success. It is not the full success, but it is a success. So with a
I pooped my pants a little.
flee, that means you can pick one of the bullet points of the basic moves. So
Do you see the basic moves under the flea?
Yep. Let's see here.
You find something useful. You run into an NPC from your past. You gain a reroll, or you do not add a watcher to the loot board.
Well, I'm going to make sure that, is this success going to add the watcher to the loot board? Because if it is, I'm going to use that.
yeah, if it was a 10 or higher, it would have added a watcher.
Okay.
All right, then
Because you had that -1.
I'm going to find something useful while escaping.
Okay. So, you see the platform near you, and you struggle over because you're missing an arm.
An arm, yes ma'am, my left arm.
So you've got one arm holding Cassidy, and so getting up on the train, up on the platform, you have nothing to leverage yourself up, but you manage to get over to the platform, which is out of the way of the train. And as you're trying to figure out a way to do that, you look down and you see a piece of pipe that is about arm size and length.
Amazing. That looks like it'll be just
lay
about the right
Cassidy
size.
down on the platform, so she's on the platform, and what do you do from there?
I'm going to grab me up that piece of piping.
All right, so that's what you're doing. Meanwhile, Stim, what are you doing?
I've been researching trains for my latest art exhibition quite a bit. Am I familiar with how much clearance there is between the bottom of a train and the gutter of a track?
You were researching recently. You did say that earlier. I will allow it. You do.
How much space is there? Is it enough for a very handsome individual like me to maybe lie down for a second or two?
So what you're trying to do?
I'm trying to let the train pass.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to think of what. So as a basic move, I feel like that's also a flee.
It's definitely still trying to get away.
Or a blend in.
I just want to confirm if
I was thinking blend in as well a little bit, but I think it's flee.
Okay.
So we're gonna have you roll for flee as well.
Okay. So I'm rolling two D6s.
Mm-hmm.
All right, going with the same dice you used for the record. That is going to be
That's a 3.
8. That's a
Oh, that's a 6?
That's a
That's a
6.
six?
That's a 6.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That's going to be an 8, man.
Nice. So, but minus what for your vigor?
Oh, vigor.
Well, is
Oh
the-
no! You're gonna need nerve. You're lying on a train track.
Nerve. That's +2.
Are you serious?
That's going to be 10.
So, almost as fluidly as if you were living, you roll over just in time for the train to go swooping by. And while you can feel the air on your nose as it rumbles through.
It's like the scientists that fling those big balls. I know it's not touching me, but it's still terrifying.
Yeah.
is that going to add a
you
watcher?
managed to get
Because it was a
through.
10?
Let's see.
So now you find, you get 2 choices. Find something while it's useful as scraping, run into an NPC from your past who can help you, gain a reroll, or do not add a watcher onto the loot board, which will happen because that was a 10.
I would like to not add a watcher. I want to not draw attention to myself. And if you don't mind, I would like to gain a reroll sometime in the future.
Perfect.
I feel like
So we'll just
meeting
mark that off.
someone in this position is maybe a little unfortunate.
That was a really, really useful thing for you. So very good.
Cool.
All right. So now I'm going to pause just so you know we're in loop 1. On the map there, I'd have you write. We are at the 14th Street Union Square for location 1, and we have done 2 moves.
So do I
we're
fill
gonna
in
mark
two of
two
those
of
little triangles? Or pie pieces. Okay.
And since it's 3 or 4 players, you have 6 moves that can be done total
Other
before we move forward.
All right, so it's the other circle here. So we've got 2 out of those 6 marked off. I like that system, by the way. It's very clean and very easy to follow. You literally, for the record, for those of you that are watching, Julie was like, "Listen, there's an element of this that I'd be doing behind the scenes while you're playing this. I'll just let you know how it runs." This is part of that system because we of course are doing this weird filming thing. As a DM, as someone that loves running a game, that system is really nice and really visual.
Yeah, it keeps the time tracker, but it's something that for example, the back and forth and the banter and everything is great. If it goes on too long, I can also just
Take a time
time's
marker.
passed.
Cool.
So fine.
Feel free to let us know we've done that.
I will tell you. Just fill in another pie piece, please.
Yeah, I love it.
And then just let it go on.
Yep.
So train is passed. Union Station. Cassidy, you are up on the platform, and you look around, and it's 9 o'clock at night. So, and we're in the 20s, so this isn't New York up today, but there's still people. It's pretty quiet. Couple of people, construction workers, who are probably finishing off since they are still building a lot of the station and beautifying some pieces of it still. So there are a couple of construction workers who are waiting for their train. This one went by, was not for this stop. And a homeless guy in the corner sleeping. But otherwise, not much happening here. Now, are you?
Can I research or investigate?
You can. Is there something specific you want to research or investigate?
I just want to learn more about what happened here at this train station.
Well, I mean, this is a storytelling thing. So that would be a good thing that you could do in a like a Pathfinder or D&D and everything like that. For this is a storytelling. Like, I would like to go up the stairs. I'd like to go approach and talk to somebody. It's just not an automatic blanket research type of thing.
Gotcha.
You need to tell me a little bit storytelling research.
So
I want to know what the homeless man has
One of the
seen.
differences in like a one-shot or something like this compared to something like a D&D is that D&D can kind of take quite a long time to get to a position. You do a lot of like puzzle solving and investigation, whereas a lot of things like one-shots or powered by the Apocalypse systems are designed to allow you to move through the story and pause where it's necessary, but not pause where it's slowed, right? So if you want to do something, you don't need to ask the DM's permission. You need to instead let Julie know kind of what you're doing.
But that being said,
and the DM might correct you a little bit.
Would like suggestions. I'm also happy to give suggestions.
Suggestions? Because I'm trying to figure out this world-shattering event.
It's wider than you'd assume, yeah.
So, it looks like there's not a lot of people here, and you're trying to find some information. You were there while the paperwork was being filled out, so you'll know, like, somebody worked in Union Station, I believe.
I was creating an art project, ma'am, in Union Station.
All right, so maybe
work is maybe a generous term.
You want to like forge ahead and see if it's safe, or if anybody notices the fact that you are not dead. Although I feel like you, out of the three of you, are probably the most likely right now to be able to blend in. So you might be safer going up and seeing if there's stuff, or you might want to just wait for your team members.
I think I'll wait for my team. Wait for my team members.
All right. So, gentlemen, I'm going to fast forward and say that you make it up. No further drama, as it were. And now you're all on the platform. And, Tim, is there any place in this area that you know, remember, can think of?
So, yes. If I, either go up the stairs and down 2 or 3 blocks, or, hear me out, just walk down the tiny side rail of this train station, I will actually come to the point of origin where I was intending to set up my greatest work yet. Remember, paint the Union train blue.
So you would like to go witness the place where you believe was the location of your demise.
I would like to go find out if we accomplished our task, because that would, if anything, ma'am, would put my soul at ease. That certainly must.
Okay. All right. So you head over to that part of the station.
I think it's a few blocks away from like Union Center. It's definitely got to be some type of bridge or overpass where I could have put a bucket above the train.
Gotcha.
That's what I'm trying to paint. I don't know where that is in New York City. I don't know the city well enough.
Well, this is the subway, and it was underground. So
something
you're
like
talking
that.
About the trolleys, which did still in part exist. So I'm good with that. For the record, there is plenty of links to research. So somebody who wants to really drill down and get there, the gritty can. And if you just want to hand wave, that's okay too, because it's a game.
We're playing from the origin of theoretical New York City. Yeah. None of us have lived there.
That's fair. So you head up, and does everybody go with you? You're all together?
I'm following him.
I'm only taking care of the old lady.
So you head up the stairs, and you get to the top. And you notice that as late as it is, there's still a crowd around outside lingering, because Jimmy Walker, who is running for mayor, has just finished a speech earlier that day. And his rally got so many supporters that there's still a bunch of them hanging out, and they're still fired up. They're still very passionate, and getting in heated discussions all around Park Square.
That's why I wanted to paint the train
There's a bunch
today.
of them.
That's why I wanted to paint the train today. I knew it would throw off his speech just slightly.
You wanted to throw off his speech.
Blue's the color of the revolution.
Was he Democratic or Republican?
Son of a guns, red is the midnight sky.
He was, he was a popular and flamboyant character of his time. He's campaigning for mayor. He's Democratic.
Red is sin, right?
Somewhat progressive beliefs about how he can shape New York lives, especially the working class, for the better.
But I was in support of him.
And so,
So you wanted to paint
there's a lot of support for him as a man of the people, as it were. Although he was very fond of his anti-prohibition stances, at least privately, if not publicly.
Do you know when it comes to the timeline if he would have been red or blue?
He was blue.
Well, it depends because the colors did switch at some point.
They switched in I think the late 80s. Yeah.
Did they?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know they switched.
Yep.
So he would have been.
He would have been red at the time, right? He would have been a Republican
Yeah.
at the time.
Well, no. He would have been red at the time.
Red Democratic.
Yeah.
Democratically red.
Red. Yes.
Again, the terms also transferred at one point as well.
The terms didn't change. No.
That was around Lincoln.
But just thinking of it, he was the more he was trying to represent a wider.
Was he a Democrat or a Republican? That's the question, because we're trying to figure out if he's red or blue.
He's a Democrat.
So he would have been red at the time.
Representing the working man.
He's pro-prohibition or anti-prohibition?
And
Privately, he's anti-prohibition.
Okay, but publicly,
nobody could really go up against prohibition at that time.
So I am painting the train specifically around that issue. I am full force in favor of legalizing, and because he represents a stifling of our freedoms, I am painting the train blue as if it is a vessel with which to carry the whiskey that I so support. Something like that. Either way, I was painting the train as an act of protest against him. That's what I'm trying to say, man.
So there's a bunch of people around, and they are talking and excited about him. And you can still head out to your thing, or do you want to stop or do you want to try to keep going?
So I would keep going, but I think I've got some companions that might be curious. I'm not sure.
The last thing I want to do is talk to any of them hoity-toity New Yorkers.
Are you interested in any of the people that are from his rally?
Not at the moment.
So I keep pushing through. I might overhear some stuff on the way. I don't know if there's anything that I hear.
All right, so you keep walking, and as you do, you walk past the Union Social Club, and while you're walking by, the door swings open, and there's a lot of screaming and yelling inside. And the man is thrown out onto the street, yelling and screaming and saying, "Jimmy Walker is going to regret this!" And you hear the people inside laughing at him and going, "Go home! You're an idiot!" And he goes stumbling off into the night.
So
You keep going.
Well, I was gonna say I would have paid attention to that specifically because not only am I opposed to this election, but also I do want to cue in as to whether or not my event happened. I'm still trying to discern whether or not my greatest work went through. Is anyone talking about a blue train? Because I'm gonna be a little heartbroken if they are.
Did you want to talk to somebody asking about a blue train, or did you still want to go?
I still headed that direction, but I am trying to overhear. Is that all I hear on the way?
That's all you hear.
Okay.
That's all that's happening.
Okay, I'm still going towards where the bridge where my exhibit. No, I'm still going to where the bridge where my exhibit was supposed to take place. I want to know what happened.
The guy sounds drunk.
All right, so we're going to tick off another space because we've been walking for a while.
Okay.
And there's still a lot of people out. So I'm also going to need, gentlemen, the two of you to roll.
Yeah,
To
because
see if you blend in.
she's all right. West?
Mm-hmm.
Here you are. You roll 3 and a 6. That's going to stick me at a solid 9, and blend in is going to...
Any modifiers?
Oh, yes. Let's see. I would like you to resolve.
Resolve's going to be a -1. I'm sitting at an 8, and West, what are you at? 1 and a 6 is going to stick you at a 7 plus or minus?
Plus 2 means I'm an 8.
Both of us are at 8, ma'am.
Why? 7 plus 2 is 9.
7 plus 2 is 9.
Well, like I said, I'm from Alabama.
I didn't do the math, ma'am.
Feel real good about my mathing skills.
8 and 9.
Yep.
Yep.
So you both succeed, and a blend in with the crowd would be the one success that you would need to succeed with this. So you keep going, and there's so many people, and they are cheering and excited and and full of energy. And you would think that they would notice a group of what looks like potentially quasi-homeless people, who also two of them look like they've been mauled by a mountain lion in very different ways. One has a tinge of blue on his skin, but no, they are just so excited and full of enthusiasm for their candidate that you are part of the scenery to them, and they don't notice. And you make your way down to this, and we're at one sliver left on the pie because you both rolled, I believe, right?
Yep. Yep. One sliver left. And just so you know, what I had intended to set up, if I haven't described it well, I want to clarify it for you, is some type of overpass with a large either tarp or vat that would have held a canister of blue pigment, whether that's a powder or a paint, something liquid or something dry. And I would have been trying to set that up like I've done with all my other art exhibits, to pull a lever, pull a tarp, and in a matter of maybe 30 seconds, completely coat one giant thing a single color. That's what I'm aiming to do. If that exists or not is up to you, but that's what was in my mind.
So we get there, and the tarp is gone, the rope is gone, the vat is gone.
Is there any blue around?
The entire area below it is awash in blue.
Oh, I missed.
And you have this surge of emotion around it, but in that surge, you also suddenly get a flash of memory.
Okay.
That happens. And so I'm going to ask you a question now. If we're playing in a group, I might ask it to you openly, or I might pass you a note.
Sure.
So that you could respond. So you are... Your question is... All right. You weren't being entirely honest when you were filling out the paperwork about just being an artist.
Uh-huh.
You actually died at a speakeasy that you worked at on 59th Street.
Okay.
Which, struggling artists, so, you have these, I'm going to say delusions of grandeur, perhaps.
Excuse you.
That's his middle name, Delusion.
My last name is Doodle.
And you clearly had to support yourself in another way.
Okay.
And so you were working at a speakeasy at 59th Street. And the question about that, so you can fill in details as you will about that.
Yeah.
But the question I would like you to add, I'm going to give you some think time while I move on to other things with a couple other people.
You'd be surprised how quick
the
I
question
think,
I want you to ponder
Okay.
before answering is, was I popular?
Was I popular?
So you're going to think about that. Meanwhile, we're at the end of this first time loop. We have a second time loop.
Yeah, that closes it.
It is now at midnight, and we are no closer necessarily to finding out who is specifically attached to either any of your deaths or the culprit who is going to commit a murder by dawn. Does anybody else have any place else that they would like to go to?
And we're aware that we're hunting.
They are affiliated.
We're hunting for both our reason and a culprit. We're aware of both of those things because of the accountant.
But to your point, so your deaths are in some way likely tied in.
Yeah.
To the actual.
But we understand that. It's not as if we're stumbling across something. We've been set back and we know what we're looking for.
Right. Well,
Okay.
you know that it is attached to your deaths in some way, shape, or form.
Cool.
So hunting down your deaths should give you the clues that you need to figure out who the culprit is.
Cool.
I'd like to go to Times Square to the museum and see where I died.
Is everybody okay with that?
Fine by me.
After seeing a wash of blue and pondering the questions that my mind has created, I am probably just following the group at this point. They're the only souls I know.
Do you want to go roll around in that paint that's left on the ground, buddy? It looks like you paid a lot for it. I'd hate for you to leave it just sit there.
If you could write, we're at Times Square at
Yep.
the next location.
Can I trip him in the
we are
blue
going to
paint?
the museum.
Yep.
So we get to the museum, and it's midnight, so it's probably all locked down and everything. Where are you trying to go? What are you trying? You're trying to get into the exhibit where you think you died?
I was working on an exhibit, and I think I fell asleep there, and I want to see if there's anything suspicious there.
So how are you going to get in? It's midnight. Everything seems pretty shut down.
Can we interact with objects?
Or a guard.
Well, let's see. You
A guard
have...
would know you.
Maybe you have keys?
Yeah, like, if I was late working at the museum, I would have had keys on me when I died.
Yes, and then you had a funeral, and they took all that out and gave you, a really
I think there's a guard at the front door.
nice outfit, and you had the one item. What was your one item?
I didn't know what I...
Keys?
Oh, my inventory? Under the inventory. An engraved pen. And I'm going to pick the lock with my engraved pen.
I like it. I would like you to roll, and let's see.
I'm excited about this based off how the narrative's gone. I just discovered that one of my 3 starting items could be a small bottle of champagne, and I think that fits right in.
How many dice? 2?
You're gonna roll. So you're trying to pick the lock. Is anybody helping her with this, or is she? Stim, I feel like, is lost in his own
Yeah.
Thoughts.
Yeah.
thoughts.
Charles, you gonna help me?
I have no idea what you're doing, frankly. I'm just staring there watching
You're
you.
pretty good with machine.
You do get a bonus die because this is your place of work.
Okay. And am I
So
what,
you're going to be doing, what did I just say? Struggle, because if you succeed, you can just simply achieve what you want to do.
okay.
And the modifier will be...
Hopefully something good.
calm.
+1. 7.
All right. So you do.
I achieve what I want to.
Huh?
Okay.
You're slow and deliberate, and you're very calm about it, so you're not calling attention to yourself, which is great. So you pick the lock, and you get in to
Took off time.
the museum and head for the exhibit.
And Julie, I ticked a section because we rolled some dice.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay.
I'm oohing and ahhing at all the stuff that I've never seen before. Being from Alabama, we ain't never seen none of this kind of... We don't have any museums except for Thresher museums.
I think I come in the door and I just kind of sit at a bench right inside the doorway.
Do you have an answer for me yet?
Are you
I don't
popular?
think I have an answer yet. I'm still ruminating on your question.
Okay.
Hence the bench
That's
sitting.
All right. All right, so you walk down. It's very quiet, and it doesn't matter. Nobody's here. There might be security, but I'm assuming you also, having been there for such a long time before, you know their routines.
Yeah.
You're very. This is your domain.
It's my home.
You're very comfortable here. So you go down to the place where you were when you were working, and then lay down, and the calm of it all, the memories there of all the research you've done, all the important things you've accomplished in your life, the papers you've published, and the lectures you've given. You've traveled the world because of this. This was your life's work, and you were dedicated to it. And because of that, you also, memories start flooding in, and you also have a memory. So yours is...
I love to watch Shira play RPGs.
She's taking more notes than I've taken.
But I think it's so cool.
It's awesome.
I think it's great.
You were killed in a crime of passion.
What do I see around where I was killed?
It was in that location. You were absolutely in that location, but it was a crime of passion. It wasn't just like you lay down and went to sleep. It was a crime of passion. So it was a murder. So the question I have for you is, what lies was the killer told that made them upset with you? So upset that they felt the need to kill you in a crime of passion.
So, ma'am, I think I do have an answer for you.
Yes.
And I don't know that I was popular. In fact, I think I probably wasn't. But I was powerful, and I was feared, and that in itself gives the visage of popularity. So when I was alive, I believed that people liked me, but now reflecting upon my own death and this bar within which I worked, I do think the people that hung around...
You were feared in what way?
I did big things. I transformed things. I painted the city red and purple and yellow. And so, why would other artists stand before me?
I thought you only worked in blues.
I don't only work in blues.
Oh.
It's only the single art exhibit you've seen.
Right. So
I don't think I was popular.
Your message was what made people afraid.
I was an activist. I was loud and outspoken, and
You were an activist. Okay.
sometimes being that, you might be right, but sometimes being that means people don't like you, but they're scared to say anything about that. Because maybe they want what you're pushing for to be correct. Maybe they want liquor to be free. Maybe they want a new government. Maybe they want the city to be a little bit more, let's say, open. But at the same time, because they're not willing to push for it themselves, they'll let you lead the charge.
Very good.
I was trying to give some space to Shira to think a little bit.
Thank you.
Exactly. Are you ready, or are you
I think
still
so.
working?
I
Okay.
think my killer was told that I was going to make Arthur my heir in everything that I did and point him as like my successor. And so he was going to take my role as the head archaeologist in the museum and go on all the digs and be the curator. And I think that was the lie that...
So you think it's somebody who wanted some level of inheritance from you, and they were getting nothing.
Yes.
Very good. All right.
Had you not completed the documents, or not? Because you're fairly old right now. There must be some in between that has not fully resolved in him having that inheritance yet.
I have lots of great grandchildren.
Okay.
At this point. and
I would think so.
And they thought that I was going to be giving it to Arthur and his cat Penelope.
So you haven't maybe finalized your will or something like that?
Yeah, I thought I was gonna live for a couple more years.
At least a few more.
Yeah. I got a good strong ticker.
Why not? It's worked. If that attitude has worked so far, so why not? All right. So it's pretty quiet here in the museum. Is there any place else in this area you would like to go, or are we moving on to another location? Maybe going outside and seeing if there's anybody around.
Yeah, let's see if there's anyone around outside.
Great, so we're going to the front door?
Yeah?
Let's do it.
You charge
Gleefully.
through the front door, which of course sets off alarms.
It's an amazing alarm system back in the 20s.
Amazing. There's still one.
Mm-hmm.
And
It's a rope and bell, but the police station's literally a block away, so...
And from behind you hear, "Hey, ho, wait, stop!" As Cliff, the security guard, catches up with you. And Cliff, very flustered, is looking around and looking at the three of you.
Recognizes me?
What? You just can't be this is a very important museum, and you can't just barge you. This way. But, they said,
The people know we're dead.
they said you had died.
Oh, that's fun information.
You better come with me right away. And he turns around and he starts heading back into the museum. Are you going to follow him, or are you going to...
Follow him. He's a security guard. He might have seen...
Yep. And he is very flustered, and he's kind of not looking at... he can kind of sense there's something off about it, but he doesn't really want to say anything. Like, it might appear rude. You are very important in this museum.
And she's very old.
And so he marches to one of the back offices, and there in the office is Arthur.
Is Penelope in here?
Looks up, and all the blood drains from his face. And it's a good thing he's sitting, because he would have fallen on the ground had he not been. And he just goes, but you died. What do you say to him?
Where were you at my funeral?
I was there. We were all there. We cried. We said goodbye to you. What happened?
Why are you so scared to see me?
Because you are dead, aren't you?
Guess I am dead.
And you! What is that? You died too!
She talking to Stim, or is she talking to,
She's talking to Stim.
Stim.
Because he's talking to Stim because...
The moment...
Arthur knows
was
you.
your patron.
Yeah, the moment Arthur turns towards me, I think I'm standing kind of just outside the doorway there. I would like to rush forward, kind of grab him by the collar and pull him out into the hallway.
I'm going to give you a struggle on that because I'm pretty sure he's not going to go willingly.
I understand what you're saying.
You're dead and he's not?
I get what you're
So I'm going to
saying.
need you to roll a struggle on that.
Perfect.
What
Is
modifiers?
that 2 dice here?
Uh-huh.
Do I have any modifiers because he's in shock?
You have modifier because you trust him.
Okay. Okay.
So you get to roll 3 dice.
Yep. Let's go ahead and roll these. 4, 2, and a 1, which is going to stick me at 5, 7. And is this nerve, resolve, calm, vigor?
Well, here's my question about this. Why are you pulling him into the hallway?
Because he was a high-level Patreon of mine. I don't know that everyone knows that, and I want to ask him some questions.
All right, so you're doing that with resolve.
Resolve, -1. I'm at a 6.
You fail.
Yes, so you can mark off an experience point.
Okay.
You gain some experience in doing this and realizing that you're willing to go to extreme lengths against somebody who, you claim to trust, that maybe you don't fully trust him as much as you thought you did.
So I don't get him out the door then.
But he reacts violently and shoves you, and you are not. This is not the you of your life. You've been hurt, and therefore, and whether it was by a train or not, you clearly have been. There was some level of blunt force trauma that happened to you. So you fall over and gash your head and take a damage as well.
Oh. Does that keep me from talking to him, or am I able to still interact?
Well, you're flailing on the ground now. Yours.
I continue flailing.
Yep. And because so there's all of this happening, and Cassidy, I think all just seeing him, but even in the brief snippet of seeing him and having this exchange with him, and then getting pulled away suddenly, and that the violence of the act of being pulled and then him pushing away, Stem, another memory comes to you about your death.
Stem?
And
Stem or Cassidy?
Cassidy.
Cassidy, it comes to Cassidy because she's witnessing this, and so sure. The second question I have for you is,
What if instead of fiddling with my beard, I fiddle with yours?
That'd be really weird.
that you know that the killer was after you, and because it was the culprit who told that person the lies that led them to have this.
Say that again?
So the first question they said was, what were the lies
Yeah.
that the killer
Was told
to make them upset with me? And you were saying that it was that you were going to give everything to Arthur.
Yes.
And that isn't necessarily the case. You may have, but you still hadn't had time.
Yeah.
But that wasn't true. It was the culprit who told your killer those lies. The culprit that we have yet to find.
The person you're looking for.
The person who did the world-shattering event?
Yeah. Was the person that told your killer those lies that caused them to kill you in a crime of passion.
They said, listen, she's going to give everything to Arthur.
Okay.
Why did the culprit stir up those rumors against you?
Oh. So why would someone want to paint a picture that you would give everything to your great-great-grandson?
Help.
So, what is Wes doing at this moment?
No, we're gonna give you a minute to think about it and see if and then we'll get back to it. So this is happening while the struggling is happening. Yeah. So pause.
Is Charles here?
And now I'm gonna go.
I'm just hunting for the cat. I'm looking all over the room for the cat. Lifting up chairs.
The cat.
Yeah, lifting up chairs.
Give me
Penelope.
Give me an investigate.
I'll give you an investigate. I'm good at investigating. That's a 3. I'm extremely good at investigating.
Not as good as cats are at hiding.
You do not find the cat. Give yourself an experience point.
All right.
You do not find the cat. You, instead...
Accidentally knock a chair over onto Shem.
You instead, in all the trying to dig around and find everything, the pipe that you've been carrying, which you had yet to try to put on your body, gets knocked out of your hand.
Okay.
And rolls under a table, like a low, what do they call, a filing cabinet that has the tiny little feet, so it goes right underneath it. And you cannot get down on one hand and reach for it and get back up, so you lose your potential arm that you never put on yourself.
And Julie, I believe we have 3 sections left. I checked off 2 more dice rolls.
I'm going to say that also in all this, that there's at least 1 more, so you have 2 left.
Okay.
That cat stole my pipe!
Your arm.
And in these last 2 exchanges, Arthur has composed himself a little bit, and he says, look, I know a little of what's happening because, my brother, Alexander, has been very angry with me as of late and very withdrawn, and I feel like there's something that happened there and I don't know why, and he didn't come to your funeral. And so if you have unresolved issues, it's probably with him. So I really wish you wouldn't haunt me anymore. I love you so much, but it hurts me to see you this way, and I don't know if I can handle it. I want you to move on to a better place. I want that for you. And what do you say to him?
I believe him, and I love him, and I'm not haunting him. Just trying to figure out how and why I died.
Yeah, I think Alexander is, and if you want to talk to him, I don't know. I mean, I don't know where he'd be by now, but most nights he's at the Union Social Club.
Okay.
It's closed by now, but most nights he's there. So, and then he'll go to PJ Clark's maybe afterwards.
That's what we passed, isn't it?
That's where everyone was yelling.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you can go tomorrow, but I can't. I just can't. And he puts his head down and he cries.
Why?
Should I throw myself?
Why are you at the museum this late at night?
Unless you can find the cat.
He's passed.
He's done.
He's unconsolable.
Where was the second place that he said?
PJ Clark's.
Okay.
And I'm going to say at this point, this was our 3rd time slot.
Have you
The sun
answered?
is starting to rise, starting to get that gray. It's starting to get lighter, and as you all gather yourselves to figure out your next move, the sun comes up over the horizon, and you find yourself down in the dark.
Found ourselves back at the train.
So, before we move forward, let's do a little bit of cleanup. So we're in location, so now we would be looking at location 2. We start always at Union station. If you have damage, you can erase that because we're starting back at the start of the time loop. If you have had 3 experience points, so you'll keep the ones that you have, but if you have 3, this is the time you get to level up and buy either a new move or add a +1 to any one of your stats, which were the Resolve, Nerve, Calm, and Vigor. We don't have any watchers in that first round. You all rolled like flying right under the radar. Pretty impressive. I'm hoping better dice rolls this time for you so that I can, beat you up in a different way. But let's do at least one more round. We might not finish tonight. I don't know how late you want to go or not, but I feel like we could do at least one more loop.
Yeah, for sure.
Is that all right with all of you?
For sure.
Okay. You wake up, and you're actually, you're all lying piled up where that, the homeless man was in the corner. He's not there. You're there now.
So we got past the train. We didn't have to climb up again. We're on the station.
That's where you're, instead of being on the ground, now you're on the platform where the homeless guy was. Construction workers are still waiting. Some rats scurry across you. One of them takes a sniff, nibbles at Stim's fingers, and then scurries off.
Hey!
Train comes through. And you're back at the beginning of the loop. Before we start, on the loop board, it would tell you that you now have, we're on second loop, so you get a bonus ability.
Ooh.
If you wanted to do your team ability at this point, all it's going to do is it would cost you an action, and you would be able to do it. So for loop 2, since you have it in front of you, and I remember what they are. I don't remember what order you get them.
Team ability, loop 1 or loop 2?
We're in loop 2.
We've got questions, team ability.
Team ability is what I'm looking for.
Is it up there? So, what does memory make you question? What dark secret do you remember? Team move, burn this city. No need to roll dice.
Burn this city. There we go. So if you all agree to use burn this city,
okay,
you can use it to. You'll make an agreement. It's not literally the entire city, but you could burn down, say, this train station or a doorway. It will cost you an action. You all have to agree to do it. But that is now a team action that is available to you.
Okay, at any point we can do that.
What is it?
So I would like to interject here while we're still being homeless and tell me if this is doable or not. I have the ability of astral projection, which means I could immediately jump to a location and observe what an NPC is doing.
You could. What a great question, because before we start, you're going to get another memory, which means another NPC has entered for each of you. So you wake up and you also get another memory. So we're going to go, Charles, you're going to get the first memory. So you already had that one.
We're doing more of this screen share power.
Yes. Who's this?
Well, ma'am, I don't like to talk about people in a bad way, but that particular gentleman there, he was the one that worked for my grandpappy on the railroad, ma'am. While he was selling seed, that was the gentleman that ran the. He was what do you call him? The engineer or conductor? The one who's running the train. I used to hop on the train every night to try just to ride it around because I like to feel the wind in my teeth and get the sounds of missing while you just whoo as they go by. It's a good source of protein as well. But that there gentleman, he was the engineer of that train.
Do you remember his name?
Honestly, ma'am, I never talked to him very much. I do recall hearing people calling that feller, what did they refer to him at? Well, they called him a lot of bad names, frankly, but the one that I think they tried to call him when they were talking about him was Mr. Sam. What was his last name? Sam Dinkles. Yeah, Sam Dinkles, I think is what they called him.
He looks like a...
And Cassidy.
That's one of the board members of the museum that I worked at.
Ooh, a board member.
Martha Adams.
She does look like a board member. That's very good.
Oh. A young man named Archibald was actually one of my high-level accomplices. You see, not only did our exhibits, especially once we went political, not only did they include bright, vibrant colors in a matter of seconds, they also included our signature sound, and Archibald had performed it on the trombone and then transferred it to a record player.
Very good. Excellent. All right, so you all surge forward. You get a little piece of your memories back, a snippet of your life, and you are back on the platform in Union Square. And what would you like to do? As a reminder, we started off in Union Square, went and looked at, there was a rally going on.
Mm-hmm.
You went from there
To the train station, to where my exhibit had been.
to look. Yeah.
And then the museum was the last place.
Right.
I would like to astral project myself, if that's possible.
To an NPC. Any particular NPC?
So, I would like to find out what our very handsome Arthur is doing so early in the evening.
Arthur, not Alexander?
Specifically Arthur.
Okay.
So we found Arthur late in the like early AM. I would like to get a vision as to what he's doing earlier that evening.
Right.
Lots of deaths that are related to him in some form seem to
So
have
you're
happened.
going to roll for your move there, astral projection.
Okay. So 2d6. Oh my gosh. 12.
Double sixes.
You're going to use resolve for that.
Resolve is going to be -1. I have a solid 11.
Solid 11. So your astral projection gives you the ability to transport your mind into another location
Okay.
to gain insight on what an NPC is doing.
Yep.
Transport your mind to an event in the same loop to check on clues you might have missed.
Yep.
Or remember something of importance from your past.
I am interested in what our lovely Arthur is up to early into this story.
So at this time.
At this moment, right as we're spawning back in, because we left, the sun rose right at the end of him just not engaging with me. I'd like to pop back there and see what he's up to.
All right. So you close your eyes again. You've shaken off the rat and focus yourself. And you see he's walking. He's actually walking very close by, like you just missed him He's walking to the museum, and he's somewhere nearby because you see all the Jimmy Walker supporters around, much like when you left, and they're all cheering. You see him.
Is it the same day? Like
Union Club?
Same exact day.
It's the same day?
Yep.
Okay.
You see him walk by the Union Club, and they're all cheering and laughing, and one of them grabs him and shakes his hand and says, "We're doing it! We're going to take this city apart!" And he shoves a flyer about Jimmy Walker into Arthur's hand. Arthur tries to give it back to the man. He won't take it back. He hands it to him. So it's getting pretty crumpled at this point, and it's really hard to like make it out. But you can see that it says "Rally at Sunrise, City Hall." And then you're brought back to your...
Wait. Before he gets brought back, does it look like he might be having a little bit of a seizure or something when he's going into this astral projection thing?
Tell us what it looks like.
Because it looks like to me that he all of a sudden started having a seizure. So I feel like, being the nice, kind Southern gentleman that I am, I'm going to try to shake the crap out of him, make sure he's okay.
So maybe you could have seen more after that, but you are now shaking back to your body.
Lovely.
I'm going to say that's
an aiding, right?
definitely shade out a piece of the pie.
For sure. Piece of the pie.
Now, because I rolled an 11, do I get to choose anything?
Watcher.
You got to choose two things. So you wake up, you come to.
It's so good to see you. I was a little worried about you.
Explain what's happening.
You were definitely shaking a lot there. I was really worried for you for a minute.
I turn to the old woman and I make sure she knows what I saw of her grandson, great-grandson, and the Southern gentleman might overhear just by the sake of overhearing.
Would you like to go back in and try a different location? Because you can pick one more.
I can pick one more. Great. Yeah, considering I remembered that he had told his great-grandmother about Alex specifically, and I'd just seen in the vision that Union Station rally that we'd been next to. I want to try to project myself into this other grandson, or even more into the room of the Union Station rally. We looked in it the first day. I've seen what the exhibit looks like. I think I could attach myself to it.
You want the Union Club? You talking about?
I want the Union Club. Yeah, I want to see what's happening there.
Right, so you want to project into the club, or you want to project into Alexander?
I think in an attempt to find Alexander, I project into the club itself. So if Alexander's not there, I will have missed him.
Okay. So you project into the club, and so. Have you been to this club before? When you were alive?
In the past? This is a club that's in favor of our lovely governor, is it not?
I mean, they're having a rally there, but it is a speakeasy, so it's a...
I would have partaken in now every speakeasy this town has to provide.
Very good. All right, so it's a little bit darker. There's not a lot of lighting. They don't want to call them, attention to themselves. And of course, if it gets raided, nobody wants to be seen as they're sneaking out the back door. So it's not very well lit. But as you kind of hover around in the cloud, you see a person who looks very similar to Arthur. You never met Alexander, but you can think that is, and he's in a back corner trying to pull the gentleman that got thrown out into the street, trying to pull him out the back door, and he's trying to frantically talk to him and saying, "Stop, you're making a spectacle of yourself, stop it." And the man pushes away from him just at that moment and starts yelling at all of the Walker supporters much like what you heard before, that Walker is a bum and he's no good and he's bad for the city and he's making a fool of himself and he's going to lose the election. And they all start hoisting him out to throw him out into the street again.
Alexander was trying to calm him down?
He was trying to get him to go out the back door so that he wouldn't make a spectacle of himself.
Okay.
And then just about that time, I start seeing Jesse shake again. Or, Slim shake again. So I'm gonna go ahead.
Shin?
Whatever his name is. I'm gonna shake him again.
Shamwow?
That's right. Shake him again.
Okay, and you come to.
You really need to get that looked at. Them doctors, they can do some amazing things these days. They start taking pictures of our insides now.
Whether or not the group is with me, I start moving towards that party and towards the man that I remember being thrown out the front doors.
Are you following him?
Can I do a research first?
I mean, you can, but you won't be
With him?
with him,
I'll follow him.
which is perfectly okay.
Yeah, you don't have to stay with me.
You. So how does that work? Do
You
I
have to stay in the same location. You can location by location. I mean, Union
Square?
Station area. So you can be in the platform and he can be at the Union Club, but you do not have to within that area. Be
I
in
still
the same.
hear everything that he hears, right?
No.
So there's private information then?
There's stuff that your character wouldn't know for sure.
So even those questions that I'm asking you normally would be private information.
Yeah.
We're sharing it because we're
Okay.
doing this as a recording.
Yeah, I'm not following him. I want to research.
I'm gonna follow him.
All right. So the two of you are going to go. Pause. We're going to do the research first.
Okay.
What are you researching?
It says I can ask the Fate Weaver for a clue if I don't have one for the loop already.
That is fair. Please roll.
Nice. Way to read the rules, Shira.
11.
Ooh.
Nice.
Now, did we add?
And
did we
you're
add a
gonna be
coin?
using, vigor.
Vigor?
Did we add a coin with my 11?
Yeah.
Okay.
I have no modifier for Vigor, so it's still an 11.
So we're going to add a second.
You wanted better dice rolls.
She did.
So I get two things now.
Before we get to that, it's like something in the corner of your sight. And when you turn, it's nothing there.
Love that.
But you can still feel it.
It's like a dog.
A shadow detaching itself, a movement where none is, a cold hand pressed on the small of your back. The watchers have taken notice. They live in the in-between, neither living nor dead, doomed to only watch, and their anger and resentment is palpable. They slide in, one hovers somewhere just out of sight near the stairs. The other slides up the banister, following the two out towards the Union Club.
Nice.
A shiver goes down the back of one of the construction workers, and he turns and he catches you, seeing you doing your research, the corner of his eye. He looks at you a little funny for a moment, then looks a little embarrassed that he was staring, shrugs, tips his hat, and looks forward again very quickly and is very rigid and won't turn around again. Now do your research.
I would like to ask the Fate Weaver for a clue.
Wonderful. Well, you have gotten your clues, but you know who hasn't gotten any clues?
I got a clue for this loop.
Charles. Charles hasn't. So I'm going to let you remember one of his clues, and then you can tell him or not if you feel like it.
Close your ears, Charles. Close your ears.
Charles was scared for his life and bought an illegal pair of brass knuckles in an alley at where did he say that he worked?
Charles,
City Hall?
where did
City
you
Hall.
work, Charles?
Near City Hall.
I was at City Hall setting up a display.
Yep. So he bought an illegal pair of brass knuckles near City Hall. Who or what was he afraid of?
Okay.
Now, normally I would just slide that over and have you write it back to me and slide it back.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then I could feed that to him, or you could feed that to him at your discretion. But we're gonna...
I believe I also get a set because I got an 11. Don't I get 2?
Yep. What else you want to do?
I would like to learn something about my surroundings.
So you sit up and dust yourself off. Go find the bench nearby. Sit yourself down so that at least you now look like you're one of the homeless people. You're maybe just waiting for the train. And just sit and feel. You still have that hovering darkness right here, but you try to push it out of your memory. You push it away. And you feel the space around you. You think about the history of this place. You try to channel all the memories of coming through here. How many times have you been in this area in your life? What is important here? And all you keep thinking over and over again is this election. It's important. I've seen the shape of this city and how it's progressed. And this election is vital. Something might go wrong if Walker isn't elected. All right. Meanwhile, gentlemen, you've gone up the stairs.
I'm trying to get to the outside of that speakeasy. I'm trying to nearly be there to catch the man as he's thrown out the front doors.
Give me a... I'm starting to lose papers. As we delve, I'm starting to lose paperwork here. Give me a... There we are.
I want to do dirt nap.
We're doing burn down.
I think this is going to be a struggle. Because
Okay.
you are fighting to get struggle with vigor.
Struggle with vigor. I'll give you a roll. That's going to be a 6, and vigor has no modifier for me, so a 6.
Fail.
Do not make it.
Oh, and -1 to my roll as well, so a 5.
You do not make it.
What
You
was-
trip. You fall. And for the first time, those Jimmy Walker supporters take notice. At first they laugh at you, and then one of them recoils and goes, "Oh my God, look at his face." Another one says, "Look at his arm!" Pointing to Charles.
What arm? It's not even there.
And just like that, they come running over and grab you. What do you do?
I mean, the only thing I'm doing at the moment is just trying to struggle and trying to break away. Charles, are you doing anything significant?
Are they grabbing up on me or are they grabbing up on him?
I think both of us.
You're both.
Both.
You have no arm.
That's not
So
as good.
less to grab.
Good. Less good. Well, I think the first thing... What's that?
When you played and you started, you brought that upon yourself.
You lost your wrestle pipe.
I think I don't like people manhandling me. It's not in my nature, so I'm gonna give them a nice telling to, and then start shoving. And then I might reach into my back pocket and grab my rusty switchblade, and pull that out real quick.
Okay. So I'm gonna have you roll a struggle.
Okay. I don't want your terrible dice that you got a 3 on.
How many pie pieces do you have left?
I believe this is our last one.
Okay. So you can stay in this area, but
9.
So that's a 9, but -1 with the watcher thingy. And then is this resolve or nerve or vigor?
I think vigor.
So that's another -1, so that's gonna take us down to 7.
7 is still a success, partial success though. So what are you trying to do? Are you trying to win a fight?
Oh,
Achieve what you want to?
I would definitely like to win a fight. I'm gonna 100% punch the biggest guy you see there square in the jaw and remind him what a southern gentleman does when someone puts their hands on him.
All right. So do you have any punchy one-liners, pun intended, when you do this?
Absolutely. I think the first thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna look him square in the face as he's trying to grab me. I'm gonna shake him off, and then I'm gonna say, "Excuse me, you didn't say please." And then I'm just gonna punch him square in the face and then grab my switchblade.
Okay, so I believe you didn't say please just completely confuses him, and that pause gives you the window of opportunity to sock one on him. And he reels back a little and shakes it off and sees you going for the switchblade and just, I don't want any trouble, I don't want any trouble, and heads up. Stim, how are you? Are we?
Does this distraction worm me free as well?
I'll let you roll with a advantage for that, so you get one more.
7, 8, 9. I will be at a solid 8. And do we have any modifier to this? Resolve, nerve, calm, or vigor?
I believe it was vigor.
It was a vigor. So I'll be at an 8, and that is going to be the first time tick on our second location.
Okay, so if that's the case, then you're staying here. So I'm letting this slide into this so that you can choose a different location. So you win a fight, achieve what you want to do, impress or intimidate an NPC who observes your struggle.
I just kind of want to be free of him.
Well, you can impress the guy that's about to get kicked out of the thing.
I slipped and tripped, and I want to have shoved him back. He brings up a good point, though. Am I close enough that the guy that I was trying to just be there for when he got thrown out the doors, am I close enough that he might notice this altercation?
You do not, but let's say you impress or intimidate an NPC. Impress an NPC who observes your struggle.
Okay.
So, while these two were are shaken up, there's another Jimmy Walker follower who comes running up and is like, "Hey, stop it! You don't know what their lives have been like. They look like they've had it pretty bad. I don't think you should be treating them this way." And kind of also puts himself between the two and is like, listen, I'm so sorry. We had this big rally today, we've got another one at dawn, and everybody just, they're thinking that we're just gonna, party through the whole night so that we're there for the rally in the morning. And I think they've had too much served, but I'm really sorry about that. We're headed to PJ Harvey's. We'll be out of your way. So sorry. And he tried to escorts them in the direction of PJ Harvey's.
Is that different than PJ Clark's?
Maybe it's PJ Clark's. Did I say who? Yeah.
It's Harvey Clark, actually, that runs the local saloon.
It's hyphenated.
Okay.
PJ Harvey Clark's.
It is...
You can't get one over on a note taker.
That's right.
PJ Clark's, I'm sorry. PJ Clark's.
All I'd written down was PJ, so both of them made sense to me. It's twin saloons, actually.
That's right.
There's Harvey and Clark's. They've got a door in between,
Is
like a
that what
hotel
PJ
room.
is? Stands for? What does PJ stand for?
I don't know. Pajamas Gym.
Philip Jr. No idea.
Okay.
What would you like to do? Do you want to follow them? Do you want to follow up on one of your other leads?
So I am familiar with PJ Clark's, having been not only a practitioner but also a worker in the local saloons, and I know that if what is happening has something to do with this political movement, which is also what I had something to do with, I know that if there's a all-night party going on, PJ Clark's is the place to be.
That's
And
a
so
great speech.
I'm going to start heading that way.
Maybe you should find a back door next time. Just saying. Front doors didn't work well at the museum. They didn't work well here either. Maybe we should look for back doors next time.
You walked out the front door, for the record.
What? She said we were leaving. It felt like I saw a sign said exit. That's where I was supposed
So
to
maybe
go.
you should go through a back door where you belong, and I'll go through the front where I belong.
Whatever, I suppose.
We good here?
I think we wasted at least one time arguing.
At least you did it on the walk to PJ Clark's.
Perfect,
Hey,
perfect,
there you go.
So
I just can't stand those southern
59th
folk.
Street. Speakeasies are open all night round, squeezing sawbucks from anyone who isn't too bothered with having to work the next morning.
Wait,
Music flows freely into
59th.
the streets as jazz musicians finish up their last songs of the night.
is PJ Clark's the speakeasy at 59th Street?
It is.
You died here.
That is where I died. It's also where I worked. Like I said, if there's any place to be, it's PJ's.
And I'm still hanging out at the train station, right?
No, you're coming with us.
Good question. What are you doing?
I'd like to go to PJ's. That's where Alexander, my great
So while
grandson,
the fight
goes.
was happening, you had your sayings, you came up.
Yeah. And as the fight ended, I joined the group to walk towards PJ's.
Very good. All right, so you get there, and like any good speakeasy, there's a very large man in a very bizarrely fitted suit at the door, denying entry to anybody who seems like they shouldn't be there, whether it's the law or the riffraff.
Do I recognize this man?
How are you gonna get? Oh, that is a lovely question. Why don't you go find out? Do you?
As far as I know, there's 3 different gentlemen that work the night shift, 2 of which I know very well, the third of which I'm not too familiar with. All of them, as far as I'm concerned, are named Stu, and I will walk up and do my common greeting.
Really? So none of them are Archibald?
None of them are Archibald. All 3 of the guards are named Stu, and I will walk up and do my common. Archibald actually used to work with me behind the bar. He wasn't the security guard specifically. And the likelihood of him working an evening that is as hot and toddy as this one is extremely high. But I'll walk up to Stu, I'll pat him on the belly like I always do, and I'll say, "Hey Stu, good to see you. Let me through."
Persuade. With nerve.
With nerve.
No,
That's a roll of a 3. Nervous +2, however.
But -1.
-1 because there's people watching us,
Take
which
your
adds a
experience.
ghostly impression.
Did you take your experience for the other one?
I'm gonna
I think you have 3 experience at this point.
I'm gonna lock
You do
in
have
at a
3
solid 4.
You also failed a different time.
The
This
very
is
large man looks at you and says, "My name
this is
Kevin."
one of the 3
My name is
stews
what?
that I don't know. Okay.
The very large man looks at you and says, "My name is Kevin."
I continue just trying to walk through that doorway.
Oh yeah, no. He's a human wall.
So,
It's not happening.
I'm gonna walk up behind him, having seen him rub his belly and call him Stu. I'm gonna walk up behind him, I'm gonna rub his belly and say, Kevin, let me in.
Kevin says, "Stop touching me."
I asked Kevin to go get my grandson Alexander, who should be inside the speakeasy.
Roll another persuade.
8 minus 1 is 7. What's my modifier?
I'm
calm.
I'm gonna go with calm.
8. Plus 1. 8.
So persuade your target. You prompt the NPC to tell you something important. The target gives you the item you want. The NPC will go where you tell them to. I'm assuming that's
Yeah.
the one you want.
Yeah, he
Alright.
went to go and he got Alexander for me.
Well, he is a bouncer, which is a certain kind of training. But you elicit another deep-seated training response where he says, "Yes, ma'am," and he goes inside. And now the door is wide open.
No, I follow
Wait a
him.
few.
We all follow.
Yeah,
we all
definitely
go inside.
Okay.
And while we're walking inside, I'm telling Flem over here that
Did
you shouldn't rub people's bellies like that.
Mark off the
Apparently they don't like that.
You enter PJ Clark's. It is a very similar type of establishment to the Union Club. Perhaps slightly nicer. But only so much as it is the finest illegal gin that can be acquired.
We only serve the
Sim-
best.
Sim is very aware of his surroundings, and like you said, his good friend is behind the bar. His good friend and accomplice is behind the bar. You don't see Alexander yet. But you do see the gentleman who got thrown out, and he is hulked over a table, glaring into his drink, looking like anybody coming near him is going to get more than an earful if they try to have a conversation with him. What are you doing?
Go near him and listen to what he has to say.
Is there a coat room that I could go investigate? I seem to be remiss for an appendage.
I go and chat with Archibald.
All right, so you two are going to approach Archibald, and you're trying to find a coat.
I
I'm trying to
mean,
deal with the coat first. I feel like the coat. There's a lot of people here, and there's 2 watchers who keep just sliding around the corners, and people. It's crowded and it's dark, but you keep getting the.
Side eye.
yeah. I'm looking for something specific and appendage-wise. I figure maybe in a coat room I might find something.
Yeah, roll investigate
All right.
with
4.
with calm. You want to be kind of under the radar about this.
I feel like an appendage loss makes finding things significantly more complex because I've managed to roll a very solid 3.
Take an experience.
It's really solid.
Does anybody want to help him, or are you still focused on Alexander?
Well, I'm pretty sure I was doing this by myself.
The man says he was doing it by himself. He was doing it by himself.
Yeah, slunk off in a corner.
You found some mittens so far. Meanwhile,
Are they both left-handed mittens? Because I feel like that'd be exactly what would happen.
I'd like to saddle up to the bar, and since I know that people are seeing me a little bit different, they're seeing me a little bit weird at the moment, I would like to not entirely reveal myself to Archibald, but instead rack my knuckles on the bar there and say, 2 gins, please. I want him to recognize me, but not be shocked by me. That's my goal.
You're dead.
It's a very busy evening. He makes the drinks, slides them down to you, says, that'll be a sawbuck. Doesn't even look up. It's like he doesn't even recognize that it's a possibility.
Yeah, I then, as he's turning back around, kind of taking the cash, I go, Archibald, damn it. What the hell's happened to me?
What the hell is this?
You, Archibald. I'm not. What happened last night? Everything was supposed to go according to plan. You had everything set up.
And he goes, shh. He'll hear you. And his eyes flicker over to the man at the table.
Yeah, I kind of duck down. I follow his advice. I get a little bit lower, sip on my drink a little bit, and like, I want to know what happened.
I can't get into it here. I thought you were dead. But he will hear you, and you don't want to mess around with him.
When do you get off?
I don't know. These guys, they're pretty amped up and say they're going to be here until the dawn at the rally. Now, at this point, bunch of the guys walking by, again, mostly Walker, and walk between the bar and the table. And he stands up, grabs 2 of them, and yells, I told you to get out of here! And this time, he's the one running the 2 of them out of PJ Clark's. So he shoves them out the door. They are too drunk to protest, and they go stumbling into the street, and he comes marching back in, slams himself down, looks over the bar and says, another one! And orders another drink.
I want to bring it over to him.
So, your friend...
I ordered 2 gins. I've at least got 1 still there. I drank 1.
Okay, so you go... Archibald...
I want to go with
is trying
him.
frantically to signal you, send you smoke signals to not do it, and you ignore him, and you bring it over to... and...
I sit right down. I lay it down on the table, I sit right down, and I look at him and I go, it's a night, ain't it?
I'm sorry, what did you say?
It's a night, ain't it?
Alright. So... what's your angle here? Are you trying to Are you trying to
I don't have any
investigate?
sense of who this guy is. I am absolutely investigating like why my friend Archibald is suddenly unable to even talk to me, a ghoul in the middle of the night, because this guy's sitting in our bar.
Alright. Roll an investigate check.
Awesome. You said you were with me, right?
Yeah, I was following him.
Does that get me any type of advantage here?
Can I assist him?
Mr. 2 left mittens?
Absolutely. I got both those mittens. I'm still trying to figure out how to put one of them on the right hand with the left hand, though.
I don't think so.
Okay, great.
Do we know the name of this guy he's going over to?
No, because nobody's thought to ask anybody so far that you've talked to.
Well, if Archibald will just speak
He
up.
said pointedly.
I have a... Can I say that this is a nerve check?
Are we asking? You know what? Yes, you can.
I think it's a pretty brave move.
I feel like that's fair.
I'm going to be settled here at a 7.
Ask him his name.
So you're investigating.
Investigate. You discover something useful. You meet an NPC who you recognize from the past. Yeah. So let me double into that. Is this? Do I recognize this guy, or is this the first time that I'm coming in contact with him?
Well, you recognized him from the loop previous.
I recognize the loop, but it says I could recognize an NPC who I recognize. I could come in contact with an NPC who I recognize in the past.
There we go. Yes, you do.
Okay.
So much has been going on. You've been so traumatized. You've been focused on your art. So it's no wonder that you didn't really look at his face until now. But looking at his face, you realize that this is Samuelson.
Samuelson.
He's a member of the leisure class, and he's part of the city's elite. He feels jeopardized by Jimmy Walker's views on social issues. He believes that social welfare could mean more taxes, and that would threaten his way of life. Maintaining a facade of righteous concern for the lower class, he argues that Walker's scandalous nature makes him unqualified to hold office. He was the person who was your patron for this great work of protest art against Walker, and you suddenly realize that you found out the truth behind his motivations the night that you were killed. So he comes into this location all the time as well. You think and you realize that he does it, and he's often there with a group of his friends, one of whom, quite frequently, is Alexander.
Alexander's friends with Samuelson?
Mm-hmm.
So I want to sit down, and following on the line that I said, I'm going to say, it's been a night, ain't it, Samuelson?
It doesn't seem to register to him who you are. He just says, "Get off my table."
What the hell happened?
Had a bad night?
The hell happened?
Looking for trouble.
We're supposed to paint this city blue. What went wrong?
Blue.
It's Stim Dougal, damn it.
Who?
That's the worst for you.
He pushes away from the table, and he's like, this Jimmy Walker. Moron. He's gonna ruin this city. He's gonna ruin everything. And he stumbles out, and he walks off into the night.
Okay. Just so you know, our lovely coach, I do believe we have more than hit that time wall at this location. So we could roll into the next one, or we could scene here. You still had stuff you were doing, right? What's our move now?
Well, was there other stuff? What was happening?
So you'd been looking for Alexander.
Yeah.
I feel like, our lovely.
He was not here.
Our lovely Samuelson walking off out of the door.
But he clearly has been here plenty of times.
Okay.
And we learned something about why he's here all the time. He's here with Samuelson.
Yeah.
I don't have much more than I'm exploring here, I don't think. Anyone else?
So, we're getting to the last hour sequence, and it's getting to dawn. Do you have any inkling of where you should go for the shattering event to prevent the shattering event? Who might be doing the shattering event?
I mean, we've heard of a rally quite a bit.
Yeah, I think at City Hall.
Yeah.
probably a good place to go.
And I am, at the moment, suspicious of Samuelson, considering a lot of the stuff that he had planned, protest movement, the art exposition, some of those things don't seem to have gone how he intended tonight.
I think someone's going to attack Jimmy Walker and murder him. Or attempt to murder him.
I think we're of par that this event that's supposed to happen right at dawn is maybe where we're headed.
Okay, so you're headed to City Hall.
City Hall, yep.
Which is where somebody bought brass knuckles because he was afraid for his life.
That is true.
What are you talking about?
Dun, dun, dun.
How'd you know about that? I only told my cat.
Alright, so you head to City Hall.
And I for the record, just a recollection, I died at the bar we were just at PJ's.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't walking into that place, didn't stir any memories or anything of my death specifically.
No, you were too busy focused having
Pretty
an actual
focused.
conversation.
Cool. Okay. I was just curious.
I found some nice mittens, though.
I feel comfortable with the information we've garnered from that area.
Looking like an old Roman building, City Hall is pretty quiet because it's very early in the morning. Pigeons coo around you, and a beggar counts his change on a corner of the staircase leading up to the offices.
Wait, there's a rally here later. There's nobody there?
Well, it's 3 in the morning. The rally starts at dawn, so shortly there should be people here, but not quite. Remember, they were going to drink all night and then show up here.
Do we see any farm equipment?
Who says
I mean,
he fell off farm equipment?
There's got to be some scaffolding to raise the banners. And stuff, right?
I was setting up a huge display of farm equipment right around City Hall.
There's a lot of construction all over in the city. And so for this rally, what you're seeing is, clearly it's going to take place on the stairs of City Hall, and on the streets around it are a couple different displays, yes, of examples of the working class, the blue collar. So you have some stuff from construction workers and some farm equipment.
Because that's what Jimmy Walker's trying to claim,
it's almost like it's making a barricade or a blockade to prevent the police from breaking up the rally.
Interesting.
Almost like it was a concentrated effort of people to help out Jimmy Walker and his efforts to get elected, or at least get his word out about what he was about. So yes, there is farm equipment, but it wasn't for it doesn't look like it was necessarily for a display for sales. It looks like it was far more targeted a reason than that. And just as you notice that, you start to see people wandering in, and a car pulls up. There's a lot of laughter and joking you hear in the car, and the door opens, and out stumbles Jimmy Walker with several of his constituents. Clearly, they've all had a lovely evening of frivolity and fun, and his campaign stumping seems to be of a particular kind. Climbing out of the car behind him is the only, non-inebriated person of the party from all appearances. She is very trim and tidy, despite the very late hour and the probably marathon drinking fest. She has a clipboard and a pen, and is following along behind him as he laughs and jokes with the other people with him. And she seems to be saying, okay, now I need you to, I know you do not appreciate thanking the the fundraiser, of the museum for their efforts, for giving you money for your campaign, but we do need to make sure that we make a point of thanking them. That was a very large sum of money, and they're going to want to know that you acknowledge it. And yes, I know you're for the working man, and you can thank the Farmers Union for their support and everything, but I'm going to need you to make sure you hit all these points. And also, Brandy, I'm a professional. I know what I'm saying. The people, they love me. I'm going to say, and they're going to understand. It's going to be beautiful. Yes, it's going to be lovely. It's great. You're going to take over the world. But when you do, I'm going to need you to remember to hit the talking points. If you just take the note cards? I don't need the note cards. I know everything I'm talking about. I just need you to set up, and we'll be good to go.
Well.
Any plans on what you're going to do? Talking to anything?
I mean, I don't really care about politics. I'm really interested in finding out what farm equipment happens to be over there. So I think the first thing that I have to go is go look at that farm equipment. Other people can do whatever the heck they want, city slickers. But I'm looking at the farm equipment.
You want to look at the farm equipment?
Absolutely.
I want to observe the crew that he is with. Do I, being someone who is highly opposed to his political campaign, recognize any of the members of his entourage?
You may have seen them at Union Square earlier in the evening, but what you notice about all of them is that they don't look like the social elite. They do look more like, they're dressed up, but their clothes aren't the nicest. They don't look, and above and beyond just being a night of drinking, it looks like things that are clean but well mended. It looks like they've put on their Sunday finest to be here, not this is just a regular day for them.
None of them have any blue on them, do they?
No,
okay.
There is no blue paint.
All right, fine.
Cassidy?
I want to find out from Brandy why the museum made a donation to Jimmy.
Cool. All right, so we're going to hold on that. We're going to go back to Charles, who has gotten to his farm equipment and is going to roll an investigation.
Do I get any bonus dice because this is equipment that I'm extremely familiar with?
Yes. And you're in Union. Yes.
Okay.
You're at City Hall where you were working.
9.
Despite my best efforts for failure, I did manage to get an 8 unless there's a modifier you're going to make me do.
Resolve.
That makes it a 10.
So you get another watcher.
I can, because I have a double win, not put a watcher on the logbook.
You could.
But that would be a smart man's decision. I'm going to use every opportunity I can to investigate this farm equipment. So the first thing that I'm going to do is discover something useful.
All right, so you're looking at this farm equipment, and there is what looks like a threshing machine, the one that you fell into.
Mm-hmm.
And you get really excited. You're like, oh, it's Tallulah. She's my favorite. And you start digging around, and you, in fact, find your arm.
Oh, fantastic.
A little worse for the wear, but it's your arm.
Love it.
Absolutely.
Now, am I able to reattach said arm
I believe that was your special ability that you have yet to use all evening.
Fantastic.
You have, right?
Yep.
You have the body part substitution.
Sure is.
So we're going to have to roll for that as well, but what's your second investigation action?
My second investigation action is that I would really, really like to find an item that reminds me of something of my past. Beyond my arm.
Well, the arm's really a present thing as well.
It's a bit detached recently.
So, as you're digging out your arm and talking to Tallulah, your preferred threshing machine, you also, as you pull out the arm, you see something sparkling in it, and it's a key. It's a key that you were holding onto very tightly, which doesn't seem very safe for displaying equipment. And it is a key that you realize would have actually gotten you into City Hall. And with this comes the understanding that having this key and being here, it all ties in to the culprit having something to do with your death. So why did the culprit have it out for you?
Are you asking me?
I am. You can think about it.
I don't need to think.
We're going to go over to Miss Cassidy, who is trying to approach Miss Brandy. Okay. How many boxes, little check marks, pie pieces do we have?
I believe we have 3 left.
Okay, good.
We had 2 dice rolls, and then we had the whole showing up and processing through the environment type of thing.
There we go.
All right. I am doing which interaction am I? Am I investigating?
I think
That or maybe a
you
persuade.
persuaded?
You were asking her about information.
Okay, persuading. Ooh, fail. Okay. I got a 5 minus 2.
5 minus 1 sets you at a 4.
It's not cumulative with the Watchers?
Sorry, you get a 5 is a fail, so I don't think it
Okay.
is.
The Watchers are not cumulative. They modify as they grow.
Well, they are cumulative because it's -1, then a -1,
Is it-
which would be -2.
Okay,
Yeah, that's what I'm
great.
saying. It's -2.
Well, that's worse than I thought.
But I will say, you have been rolling so poorly that one of the Watchers has lost interest and wanders away.
Oh. Bye-bye.
We're not very impressive.
Yeah, we're pretty rough.
Okay.
Unfortunately, you go tottering over
To Brandy.
to talk to Brandy, who gives a little shriek and dives back into the car.
Explain that you're just old.
Haven't you ever seen anybody who's 120?
That's very rude of her.
119.
Are you going to try to attach your arm, and do you have an answer for me about the death?
Yes. I received a very strange phone call about 2 weeks prior to this particular event, where somebody said they were calling to rent farm equipment for a display. And I said, New York City? Oh, well, I said some very offensive things over the phone, most likely, because, why would I ever do that? And then they told me they were paying me an exorbitant amount of money to come up here. So I told them to double said exorbitant amount of money, and I would be happy to display said equipment in New York City. So I have a feeling it has to do with something about the funds, and then probably when I got there, being very insistent about the amount of money I was to be receiving, and not getting a very good response from the people who were supposed to be paying me the money that may have had something to do with it.
Okay.
It felt kind of mob
You're gonna
related.
try to attach your arm.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Now, do I get an extra dice because it's my arm?
Yeah, I'm totally gonna allow that.
Nice.
And use resolve.
Resolve. Fantastic.
3, 1, 3, 7.
Minus 1 is a 6, but resolve is plus 2, so that's a beautiful and fulfilling 8.
You successfully, you put it in there and you jam it around a little bit, and you feel the sockets pop into place.
Oh, beautiful.
So everything else is a little flappy, but it's in there.
It's what I called my third wife.
So I think at this point we're at one tick till dawn. Anything else we're gonna try?
I'm gonna put that mitten on.
I would like to be in some viewable location.
Hold on. I'd like to point out we have one pie piece left. We are fairly certain of what we think is happening, and we have done 0 steps. Well, I'm sorry, Cassidy has tried to talk to Brandy, but everybody else has done 0 steps to actually prevent the shattering event from happening here.
Yes.
I found my arm.
Normally, I would let you do this for 2 more rounds or say, let's break and we'll meet next time we meet. But since this is a video that has to stop,
So
perhaps you might like to try
what I
for
was
your last action.
what I
Do something that will stop
Shattering events.
the shattering event.
what I was saying is
Something you think will do that will help.
I was hoping to be in a position to be close enough to observe and interact with the stage before, because the event's supposed to happen at sunrise. But I assume
You'll poof away.
I assume before sunrise there is still arrangement and
You have one
happenstances
action
going on.
You have one move left that you can do.
He's doing a whole bunch of
Before-
talking. I'm gonna run up there and tackle Mr. Walker. I'm gonna save him by hurting him.
Great. Roll a
I watch as you run up and
Struggle.
tackle Mr. Walker. I'm in the perfect viewing position for this.
Struggle.
1 + 4 is 5. You fail.
Well, that's...
you get an extra. You're still at City Hall.
Nope. Yep, there we go. Okay.
+4, 9.
And you're going to do this with nerve.
That's a +1. That's a 10.
Subtract 1 for that.
That's a
Walker,
9.
9.
Well, okay. So, but we're going to go with you achieve what you want to do.
Like a football
And-
player in mid-stride. Just laying into him. I'm like tackling from behind. He didn't see it coming. Launched from the 3rd step straight into the air right behind him.
And I have the best view of the whole thing.
Now, if the shattering event was not Jimmy Walker as the target, that would have been awkward.
Very much so.
But in fact, as you're tugging him over, around the corner, guns ablazing, Samuelson comes shooting, trying to surprise Jimmy Walker just as all his followers
Stop it.
are gathering to see him and publicly kill him. And instead, you get 2 slugs in your freshly attached shoulder.
Sons of biscuits!
I, for the record, might join the mob.
But you have, well, scaring
Dun, 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 dun.
Scaring him straight, probably. But scaring him, you have, in fact, saved Jimmy Walker's life. And as that happens, a beige door pops into existence. Door opens. Greta pokes her head out and goes, "It wasn't pretty, but you did it. Come on." Good job, everyone. Come on. And as you walk through the door, you see several police officers going to apprehend Samuelson, and Brandy is rushing over to help Walker up, and he's shaking himself off and saying, "Who was that homeless man? Doesn't he know I'm for him?" And you go through the door, and the door closes, and Greta says, "All right. Well, you stopped it. Congratulations." And the higher-ups are impressed that it only took 2 time loops, and your efficiency was well noted. So, you can pick your afterlife.
Am I a superhero now, ma'am?
Go. I'm sorry, what was that?
Just clarifying if I'm now considered do I get to go back? Am I a superhero?
You're dead. You can go to your afterlife. What would you like it to be?
I'm not blessed with magical powers and the ability to do anything I want.
Is that what you would like in your afterlife?
No, I'd like it in the life. I don't get my life back, is what you're telling me. Damn it.
No, there's not enough paperwork in the world for that.
This whole time I thought maybe. All right, I choose a land full of popsicles.
Not ice cream?
Just popsicles.
All right, I will.
No. And then I get sucked back through, and I'm suddenly in an afterlife. I didn't actually mean, but I did choose.
Mm-hmm. Just as like a cotton it looks like cotton candy. The wall turns to cotton candy and kind of pulls apart and gets sucked through. And just for a moment, the other two of you hear la 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 la. Miss Cassidy, what would you like for your afterlife?
I want to be surrounded by all of my family, my ancestors.
And suddenly all of her children die. like her grandsons, her uncle.
Is there any particular place you would like to be?
In kitten heaven.
That is very oddly specific. All right. And
because I anticipate Penelope, the cat, is gonna come visit me up in kitten heaven.
Fair enough.
When she makes it up there.
Don't
She's
let
right
her
now
pee on your
protecting
track.
Arthur. So
I love it.
once she comes up,
a cottage door appears and opens up, and you hear a lot of mew. So you also see somebody waving at you.
Yay.
And you head on out, and the door closes.
Charles.
Well, I think I'm a simple man. I would like for my forever after to be me riding on top of Tallulah into the sunset perpetually with a ice cold glass of ice sweet tea that never gets cold and always stays full.
Wrapped in burlap underneath the
You
tree.
mean never gets warm, and the thing that killed you, you're riding off into the sunset? I love that.
We can't hold it against Tallulah.
No, I think it's awesome.
Yeah.
The beige door that you just came through opens up, and Tallulah comes driving in. A lot of people gasping and going, "It's driving! It's out!" The beige door shuts. In front of you, barn doors appear, open up. You hop on. It keeps going. It's never stopped. Like as Tallulah was driving through.
Perfect.
Hop on. Pick up the glass that's just sitting there in like a little cup holder. And you drive through the barn doors. And they slowly close.
Wow, that's perfect.
And
Couldn't ask for a better ending.
And there you go. That is how you play Revenant Society.
I think that first off, this is a lot of fun. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
I also think the system is so cool. I love the cycles of it. I love the time loops. I love the fact that you can like unveil information and you're not dead. You just restart if something goes horribly wrong.
And just to be clear, had we not won, my arm would have fallen off again and I'd have had to go back and get it, right?
Well, I was debating that. So there's a lot that, as the Fate Weaver is a little bit at my discretion. So we were playing, because you were embracing your character so much. This is, even though this is a one shot, this is something we could have broken up into loops and I could have just let you go longer. So I was ticking off things much faster than I necessarily might have if I knew that we were playing a couple different sessions. So there is stuff like that where since it is actually your body, it was actually a fun little, in my head, if we had kept going, I probably would have let you keep it. And
nice.
We'd have had a little moment of but then eventually, if you ever got hurt, if you rolled low, I was going to make it fall off. Like that's a fun thing that as totally a Fate Weaver, I can play with.
Yep.
No, this was awesome.
Yeah.
This is awesome.
Very fun.
Julie, I just want to show you, because you can't see from there, the degree to which Shira has...
Oh, it was brilliant. I was so happy.
She's awesome. I wish...
Fair, if this had been an in-person event, I like to, when I GM, I like to do a lot of more, a lot of handwritten or personal, so that...
Yeah.
I personally would make on antique paper or dye it with tea and everything so it looked old and everything.
Nice.
And make sure that so that I can pass you the note and you can write me the answer back. And I felt like we would have had a lovely little private side game going on.
Oh yeah.
Because that's my style. You can do it a lot of different ways. I've seen a lot of GMs do it, and you don't have to do that. That's the beauty of it. They provide you all the information. But that is something that I like to do so that, and you called it out, Jesse, that getting to, giving you a question and then giving somebody else time to do an action so that that person has time to think. It's not always about being on and having the answer and knowing the story, where the story goes next. It's about everybody getting a chance to be a part of the narrative in different ways. And also
as a GM, understanding who is able to respond immediately. West can sometimes just answer. Or with Shira, a player who wants to think and check the notes and double check the names and see what's right, this was such a cool system.
I feel like Shira would have solved this so much faster if it hadn't been for...
Oh, absolutely.
For these dodos who are just trying to find mittens?
I, as a GM...
The party of the entire adventure?
I as a GM, want to run this system. I want to do my own one-shots of this so much. This was awesome.
Yeah.
This was awesome.
And there's also, in addition to having a jam screen that has a lot of stuff that you can just roll information, location, and people... there is a whole chapter on how to build your own, and we've given you a lot of, if you need idea generators, NPC types, and a lot of resources of linking to, in the timeline, what was around in New York City at that time, so that you have a baseline. If you want to do it more based on research, you can, and if you don't, you just want to make it based on your own fun fantasy version of those time periods, you absolutely can do that too.
Cool. Thank you so much for the time. Thank you for joining and running a session of this. I know we were all excited to dive in, and man, there's nothing like playing a one shot of a new RPG system.
For sure.
Anyone that's watching, thank you for being here. Thank you for checking this out. At this point, I am sure you've already clicked the link and went over to the Kickstarter page. There's so many other extra goodies and more being revealed over the course of this campaign. So. Julie, hats off. Thank you for coming. And everyone else, whatever the case, whatever you do, remember to do the important thing.
Get out and play some games. We'll see you next time.